Hello survivors and welcome to First Aid Spray, a Resident Evil podcast by fans for fans. This is episode 108 of the show, and in this edition we're rolling out the red carpet for Resident Evil's 30th anniversary celebration with our awards show, the Rezzies. My name is Sai, don't blame me, I voted for Kodos, and joining me on the panel this week, he's been here since the first zombie head turn, and he'll probably be here until the last. It's Firebutton Steve Valance.
I wanted to do the zombie groan, but I can't really get it on my microphone, so just pretend, listener, that I went, erg, dramatically. Hi, everybody.
Here to disregard original instructions and instead celebrate 40 years of Castlevania, it's Mika.
That's definitely what I'm here for.
And he doesn't know it yet, but I'm about to pitch a video where he lists every single alien reference of the last 30 years. It's James, a.k.a. Moist Owlet.
Ooh, that's going to be difficult.
I've watched that video.
Every episode of First Aid Spray is recorded live on Discord, so join our server now to become part of our fantastic community that includes Resident Evil diehards and newbies. If you'd like, you can support the show via our merchandise store or over at patreon.com/FA Spray Pod for as little as $1 a month. All of this and all of our social media links can be found at our website, faspraypod.com. Tiny bit of housekeeping, some content-related housekeeping. At the time that this episode should drop, Kelsey and I will be recording the new episode of, and I teased this previously, Now That's What I Call Survival Horror, which will be all about Resident Evil Requiem's soundtrack, of course. So that will be coming to Patreons very shortly after this episode comes out. It will be coming out to the general public sometime thereafter, but if you want to get ground floor access to the latest Now That's What I Call Survival Horror, and as a bonus support the show, then yeah, you can head over to our Patreon for that. In terms of stuff that is available now in general, we just started a new playthrough over on First Aid Plays for House of Necrosis, which is a turn-based survival horror game. It's very Resident Evil inspired, so do go check that out. The link for First Aid Plays are sometimes forgotten about second channel, including by us, will be in the link of the podcast if you want to check that out, and our other Let's Plays as well. And also, since it's a 30th anniversary celebration episode, seems like a good time to plug The Hurdle. I haven't talked about The Hurdle in a long time, which is run by Choji Akamichi, friend of the show and member of the Discord server. If you don't know what a hurdle is, it's like Wordle, but for music, and it will play a second-long clip, and then another second, and then another second of a piece of Resident Evil music. And Choji has been plugging all the different soundtracks into that. Currently, it's got Resident Evils 1 through 3, Survivor, Code Veronica, Gaiden, even 0, 5, Dead Aim, 7, and now Resident Evil Requiem as well is in there if you want to do a daily guess of Resident Evil music, if that's your jam. Again, link for that will also be in the description. That's everything from us. Steve, please take us into the headlines.
First story this week. Game director Nakanishi has announced that Resident Evil Requiem will be getting a photo mode and a story expansion.
Yes, and a minigame as well. Yeah. And a minigame, which I think the story expansion, I guess we kind of expected it, because most Resident Evil games have a story expansion of some kind, or some DLC, I suppose. But to know that there is something weighty coming, and also a minigame, which is apparently coming out in May, that's kind of cool. Mika, I'm going to come to you first. Just generally, how did you feel about Requiem? Were you a fan? And are you looking forward to the upcoming slice of DLC? Any expectations for what it might be?
I enjoyed Resident Evil Requiem quite a bit, actually. I played it mostly on my Steam Deck, and it ran beautifully on that, which was a really nice way to experience the game. Ideally not as nice as ray tracing on my 4K monitor, but hey, I still enjoyed the game and had a lot of fun with it. As far as the ideas for DLC goes, I'll admit that I am more interested in the minigame, but that's just my general disposition. I was a big fan of Mercenaries back in the day and have been a fan of the Resident Evil minigames quite a bit ever since they started coming out. So I hope that the minigame is cool. I hope that it's more Mercenaries. And as far as the story expansion goes, meh. Especially if the rumors I've heard about it are true, but rumors are rumors.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There is a lot of speculation about what this minigame could be. People jump straight to Mercenaries, which would be cool, and wouldn't be necessarily out of pocket because Village had a Mercenaries and 6 had a Mercenaries, 5 had a Mercenaries. The only game that hasn't with a numbered entry for a long time has been 7, and it wouldn't really make a lot of sense, so that's kind of fine. Right. But the other speculation, of course, around the mini game is inspired by 7 because Nakanishi is wearing a Ethan Must Die t-shirt in the teaser, so some speculation perhaps that Leon and or Grace must die in the mini game. But Steve, any expectations for you on the upcoming Requiem DLC? We know essentially nothing.
I mean, it's nice for one thing that the data miners haven't ruined it and gone, oh yeah, it's this, and this. Just saying, you know, as a miserable so-and-so who likes surprises, you know, I'm going to cheat and say I think it actually is. As
someone that likes joy.
Yeah, exactly. I like going, ooh, surprise. I do hope it's Mercenaries or something akin to Raid Mode, or if we're very, very lucky, you know, the 4th Survivor Redux. Just have Hunk walk his neck wound off so, you know, internet speculation can just shut up. And he can go on another adventure, because it seems like the perfect cap-off for that as a mini-game. Also going to just say that 7 technically had its own little knockoff version of Mercenaries with the Nightmare DLC. It's like, you know, score-based, kill things, get loot. It's not the same, but it's the closest allegory. So every game's had one. Yeah, no, I'm on board with that. As for story expansion stuff, I hope it's like something we weren't expecting that fills in a lot of blanks. You know? That's that. Obviously, there's so many questions left over from Requiem, various things like the amount of people who want to know who is Xeno, what's his hair colorist, you know, like is he a Wesker clone? Was that really Hunk? Yes, it was Hunk. You know, how did Leon get sick? Why is Sherry in the game if she's not going to do anything? You know, stuff like that. So there's plenty of questions. It'd be love to see it. Make it about Grace and piss everyone off. That'd be funny.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think I said this previously. I've said it somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if this is where you get your Ada inclusion. For better or worse, her being absent from a Leon story was a change of pace for Requiem. So I wonder if this is a way to include her in some fashion. But unlike something like 4, with separate ways, where it's like she was in the game, but separate ways allows you to see everything from her point of view and a bunch of new content. I do wonder if just adding her in, being like she was in the background, you just happened to not see her the entire time, would be kind of weird. You're right, there's a bunch of holes I would like them to plug with the DLC and things to explain, so much so that we're almost spoiled for choice, but immediately it doesn't feel like there's an obvious thing for them to pick for me, which is actually a good thing. So I'm looking forward to being surprised, hopefully, by whatever this is. James, any thoughts on the upcoming Requiem content?
I hope we get I hope we get answers.
Yeah.
More answers, please. In terms of the minigame, I don't really have much to say, because we literally know that nothing more than what we currently know is that it's other than it's coming. More answers. Thank you, Capcom.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
Next story. Requiem has to date sold over 6 million copies and making it the fastest selling game in the franchise's history.
Yes, this news comes from the 16th of March, so at the time of recording, about a week or so old. So continuing to trend upwards. This I don't think is surprising considering it hit 5 million in less than a week. Some really interesting context to this provided by CVX freak Alex Anil, the author of Itchy Tasty, the Resident Evil, history book that it is. Wonderful piece of work. And Alex is always good at these like sales updates, stats he put online. That Resident Evil 4 Remake is the previous record holder in terms of fastest selling game. It sold 6 million units in 9 months, as opposed to Requiem, which has managed it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, which is absolutely wild. So, yeah, as he says here, Don't be surprised to see it hit 7 million sales by the end of this month. It's probably going to keep trending upwards. We are almost certainly looking at the best-selling game in the series, which is so weird to say about a game that just came out 3 weeks ago. But yeah, Steve, any thoughts on the sales numbers? I mean, I don't think it's overly surprising, is it?
Well, I, for one, am very happy for Jeff Keighley for finally backing a game that is successful. Remember that come awards season, yeah? No, not another Resident Evil game getting snubbed for Hideo Kojima, yeah? I see you, Death Standing too. I see you.
There will be some Requiem. Requiem will be getting some awards tonight, at least. So.
Yeah. But no, I think it's good because it shows the franchise, despite having been over since 2004, according to some people, it's still it's doing pretty well. Like, yeah, it's pretty solid, pretty strong. Yeah, it's selling probably about 7 million by now. That's fantastic stuff. I know there are various things about it, the ethicalness of how it was developed. We don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm fully with James on this one. You know, you may not remember the previous podcast where we went into it a bit, but I'm glad that the franchise as a whole is still going strong. And I like Grace. I'm glad a lot of people like Grace too.
James, any thoughts on the sales numbers?
Yeah, with I want to back onto what Steve said there as well.
Yeah, sure.
Because we did a podcast before the DLS 5 stuff came out as well. Recently, not to date the podcast, but I will. And everybody hated it. Everybody disliked that. And I hope that's kind of taken on board a little bit. And in the future, we will see less of it. I said it during the Survival Unit podcast as well. I was like, I'm happy that this is doing well because it's funding future projects. Yes. And I know we're currently in a state where everything is up in the air with Requiem, and it's doing very, very well. But we're also being very vocal about what we don't want in the future. So yeah, I'm happy it's done well because we are the voice, we are the community, and if we're loud enough, we can continue to get good games like this. Because predominantly the entire community, I think, even though we've all got very valid nitpicks with it, right, it's done very well, and you can't ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree with that. We've said it once, we've said it a million times about Resident Evil just being such a varied franchise now at 30 years that even if one installment doesn't necessarily grab you, it's no reason to necessarily dump the whole franchise because the next one might surprise you. I mean, just look at the changes between, obviously 6 and 7 is quite a big one as well, but even some subtle changes between 7 and Village and stuff like that. So you're right, health of the franchise is a good thing, both monetarily speaking, but also public perception and everything around DLSS and Capcom's standpoint on it. We don't need to get too deep into it, but because obviously we talked about it on the last episode as well. We've made our opinion on it pretty clear, and it's interesting to see the discussion around it now because Capcom are, whether they meant to be or not, reports say they didn't even mean to be in the center of this conversation. They are, unfortunately, in the center of the eye of the storm with it a little bit there. Mika, any thoughts on Requiem's success?
I mean, not surprised. It was well hyped. Marketed pretty well, maybe a little over marketed for someone of my taste, but then again, I like to be shown less. But no, not at all surprised. It's a good game. Like I said, I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope that we see more of it. The fact that they're rolling out DLC in a few months is not surprising, given its massive success, and hopefully we'll see more of it in the future.
Cool.
All right, the news everyone's really here for, let's be real. Okay, so Ashley, Louis Serra, and Krauser are coming to Resident Evil Survival Unit.
I just put this in because technically it is news. But yeah, I'm not sure. At this point, any of us are probably playing this game. I saw you uninstalling it. I heard you out there, listeners. I heard you uninstalling it. And I held on a little bit longer than most and still uninstalled it. So yeah, remembering that Survival Unit exists was one thing. But yes, they have teased that a trio of Resident Evil 4 characters are coming. This is the second set of characters after Chris, Billy, and Rebecca, which we don't think we even mentioned on the podcast, but they're out now and you can spend money to get them, and I'm sure this will be a similar thing as well. Probably nothing anyone has to say about this, I imagine, but there you go, Survival Unit update.
Okay, we're not going to date the podcast wholesale, but can we put like a timer somewhere and then like a countdown for how long it's going to take from this date to when they actually put Alice from the movies in there? Because I feel like at some point it's happening. Right, you know, there's going to be a collision, and Mila Jovovich will finally meet Leon Kennedy, the real one. Well, the real Survival Unit one, not the, you know. Have they added Ganados and stuff to it as well? Like, are we getting other BOWs?
No idea, actually.
You know,
I don't think they've said anything about it happening, so unless I've missed it. So I can't imagine they have. I guess that would be kind of neat, but also kind of neat in the sense, you know, how neat does Survival Unit really get? You know? Yeah, I mean, contextually.
The peak for me was that we had we had different Ivies looking at each other on the battlefields and stuff. Like you could see classic Ivies and remake Ivies.
Yeah,
I'm easily impressed. Other than that, I'm never reinstalling it, so it's all just like looking from over the fence, you know, like looking into the mobile games field and going, all right.
Yeah. Park in the game, maybe I'll come back. Right. And with that out of the way then, let's definitely date the podcast, because today, on the day of this podcast releasing, is the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil, and we're going to host the Rezzies. And now, reading the file Keeper's Diary from Resident Evil 1996, Galaxy Zines, who you can find on TikTok at Zines Just Livin'.
May 9th, 1998. At night, we played poker with Scott the Guard, Elias, and Steve the Researcher. Steve was really lucky, but I think he was cheating. What a scumbag. May 10th, 1998. Today, a high-ranking researcher asked me to take care of a new monster. It looks like a gorilla without any skin. They had told me to feed them live food, and when I threw in a pig, they were playing with it, tearing off the pig's legs and pulling out the guts before they actually ate it. May 11th, 1998. Around 5 o'clock this morning, Scott came in and woke me up suddenly. He was wearing a protection suit that looks like a spacesuit. He told me to put one on as well, and I heard there was an accident in the basement lab. It's no wonder. Those researchers never rest, even at night. May 13th, 1998. I went to the medical room because my back is all swollen and feels itchy. They put a big bandage on my back and the doctor told me I didn't need to wear the spacesuit anymore. I guess I can sleep well tonight. May 12th, 1998. I've been wearing this annoying spacesuit since yesterday. My skin grows musty and feels very itchy. By way of revenge, I didn't feed those dogs today. Now I feel better. May 14th, 1998. When I woke up this morning, I found another blister on my foot. It was annoying, and I ended up dragging my foot as I went to the dog's pen. They have been quiet since morning, which is very unusual. I found that some of them had escaped. Oh, I'll be in real trouble if the higher-ups find out. May 15th, 1998. Even though I didn't feel well, I decided to go see Nancy. It's my first day off in a long time. But I was stopped by the guard on the way out. They say the company has ordered that no one leaves the grounds. I can't even make a phone call. What kind of joke is this? May 16th, 1998. I heard a researcher who tried to escape from this mansion was shot last night. My entire body feels burning and itchy at night. When I was scratching the swelling on my arm, a lump of rotten flesh dropped off. What the hell is happening to me? May 19th, 1998. Fever gone but itchy. Hungry and eat doggy food. Itchy Scott came. Ugly face. So kill him. Tasty. For itchy tasty.
Was struggling for a while on how to handle the 30th anniversary of the series for the podcast. I'll admit it's one of those things that's been looming for a few years, and we've covered the first game several times, and we potentially will cover it again in the future. Who knows? But I was like, it's too soon to just replay Resident Evil 1 just because it's 30 years old, and how do we do this? And then, by happenstance, a conversation in the First Aid Spray Discord server around giving awards to like the worst things in Resident Evil just started, and it kind of snowballed into that's a really great idea for a podcast, and that's where the name the Rezzies came from, because of the Razzies. But we decided to grow it out to being the good, the bad, the weird. So I put together, if you missed it, I put together a form and sent it out to our community with loads of different questions for them to vote on, and essentially we're just going to go through those. I have tabulated the answers here as best as possible. There's some really interesting and really funny data. We're going to go through as many as questions as possible. I'm kind of going to put them out to our panel here and see if they can guess what our audience voted for, or give a take on what they would pick. And yeah, see how you guys voted, the First Aid Spray audience. So thank you to everyone who voted in the Rezzies. I could have been a bit more specific with the phrasing on some of the stuff. I didn't want to be too specific because I didn't want to be like giving answers. I wanted it to be whatever comes to you, the voter's head. But some of you wrote way too many words when I was just looking for a name. Bless you. Thank you for all your hard work. This has taken hours to put together. As usual, I thought, like with the episode 100, I was like, this is going to be nice and easy. Took hours, but it's going to be fun. We're going to chill now, and we're going to give some awards away in the first and probably only edition of the Rezzies. Happy 30th anniversary, Resident Evil. Let's look towards the future with our first topic, our first award, which is for the remake you most want. Obviously, a controversial subject, and this was not without people responding with none, please, of course. But in terms of games, Steve, what do you think? What would you pick? What was the top winner? However you want to approach this.
Oh, goodness me. Right. I flip-flop all over the place on this one. I feel like it's the internet always floats around with like CV and RE5 a lot, right? But there is a charm for me for like I want to walk through the mansion. I know people balk at the idea of doing Remake 1 again, but I want to go through the Spencer Mansion. So personally, I'd go Spencer Mansion, but I bet everyone says CV.
Interesting. James?
Outbreak.
Oh.
I want.
Okay.
And I would love. Yeah, I would want File 1 and 2, but Outbreak is. My opinion has changed from last year, but because of Requiem and what Requiem's put forward, and how close it is to Raccoon City, Outbreak for me. I hope so. But I think everybody's going to say Code Veronica.
I think you're right. There's something in there with Outbreak now. Now that we've done the whole revisiting the modern day for Raccoon City, it's like, well, you can only pull that card once. So now if they want to use Raccoon City, we're going to have to go back in some form. Can we go back and forward at the same time? I don't know. It's interesting. There is space to revisit it in 98, perhaps, yet again, because we're not getting away from it in the franchise now. The remakes were too successful. Mika, any thoughts on the most wanted remake?
I do think the popular choice is Code Veronica, just like everybody else. It's the one that you only ever think about. But in my heart of hearts, I wouldn't mind seeing a Zero remake, have us a true co-op experience.
Interesting. Well, you'll all not be surprised to learn that Code Veronica was the winner. I'm just gonna start at the top. Code Veronica did, of course, win this with 40% of the vote, which is quite strong out the gate on our first topic. Nearly half the people picked Code Veronica. But funnily enough, you've all kind of landed on the other games near the top. Outbreak and Resident Evil 1 tied for second with 15% of the vote.
Oh, wow.
And then 0 was next, which I thought was pleasantly surprising, 8%. So there you go. There was a couple of votes for RE6, a couple of votes for RE5, surprisingly low down, considering all the hubbub about it and certain parts of the internet that are so sure that that's going to be next. I guess there's a difference between predicting what you want, predicting what's next and saying what you want. There is that.
Yeah.
And a couple of votes for Survivor and Dead Aim as well.
Listen, respect. I respect it.
Same. There was a lot of things in this where I was going through and I was like, do you know what? I don't know if I agree with that answer, but I like that answer. The next one we had, a classic, is the most underrated. The most underrated game in the series. And Mika, what do you think people went for? What would you vote for?
Revelations.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be the one that I would probably pick to be the most underrated. I didn't play it until relatively recently, and very much enjoyed it as an entry into the series. What do I think other people voted for? I'm gonna go with the dark horse pick here and say Resident Evil 5.
Interesting. I can see that. There's a lot of fond memories and nostalgia associated with RE5 for a lot of people. So, yeah, I can see that. James, what's your thoughts on most underrated game?
It's so funny because like the immediate game that came to my mind was Code Veronica again. But it's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny with Code Veronica because I've heard both arguments that it is both overrated and underrated. Like, you know, you could literally turn a corner in the Resident Evil community and somebody else would have a different opinion about that game in terms of how it rates, you know. So yeah, I would have to go for Code Veronica as what I think the voters will go for. But maybe RE0 as well.
Ooh, okay.
As being underrated, because yes, we did a whole podcast on it, and I did come around that it's a little bit silly in places, but it also has some of the best music, some of the best locations in the game, in the franchise. It was really, really top heavy, but yeah. So I two answers: CV and RE0.
Okay. Yeah, the whole CV thing is like we've memed on it, you know. Say the line, Steve. So I did wonder.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, I meant Code Veronica is underrated.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry.
That was, you know, that was definitely a conversation that we've had before, where it's like after a certain point, people saying that kind of undoes the fact that it's underrated if everyone rates it. So I was really curious to see where it showed up. Steve, what do you make of this one?
I personally, a game I think is underrated is poor Revelations 2, which is a little bit between 6 and 7 and gets ignored. 7's the one that saved the franchise, apparently. But, you know, Revelations 2 is pretty good. I enjoyed it. But do I think the community think that? I think the community are going to turn out and say... See, I know our community, the First Aid Spray community, and I feel like they've gone for Resident Evil 3.
Oh, the original.
Yeah, I feel like they talk about Resident Evil 3 a lot in the Fast Discord. I'm gonna go with that as the community pick.
Do you know what's funny about that is they definitely do, and they definitely talk about the remake a lot. I've noticed we've had a lot of Resident Evil 3 remake chatter recently, and that game made it pretty high up. It just lost out on being in the top 5. The original Resident Evil 3, I think, got 1 vote.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
It's really low down here. There was a lot of answers in this. Lots of games just got 1 or 2 votes. Operation Raccoon City, for example, a few people said Dead Aim. There was even at least one person who picked Deadly Silence, which, again, that's a perfect example of what I just said about I like that answer. That's a fun answer. But I'll go through your top 5 because you've mentioned most of them, and Code Veronica actually heads that up in 5th place with only 6%. So
Wow.
Quite low down in that front. Survivor was slightly bigger with 8%. Nobody said Survivor, but shout out Survivor. And then we have what I actually think, looking at this, perhaps would have been my answer, which is Revelations 1, 10%. Because the two above it, I think they're getting towards, in some circles, they get towards what we were just saying about Code Veronica. Everyone says it's underrated and therefore it isn't, which is 0 with 12%. And then running away with it with nearly double that, with 21%, is Revelations 2 as the most underrated game. Which is great because, I mean, we here all love that. We had a great time podcasting about it. Went on for hours. So big proponents of that game. So it was really cool to see everyone turn out for that. Our next one, I think, is also pretty direct as well. A lot of these have big, obvious answers. But it's the character who needs a return the most. So, James, I'm going to ping it over to you first. Who do you think people voted for? Who would you vote for in terms of a Resident Evil character who needs a return? Because there's a lot of characters we haven't seen in most of the last 30 years.
Oh, my God. The two that scream at me are Claire and Jill. They... I'm talking mainline here.
Sure.
If I'm talking overall, considering we've had RE2 remake and we've had RE3 remake, I gotta go with my girl, Rebecca Chambers, who has been completely forgotten other than Death Island. Yeah, Rebecca, bring my girl back, please. I'm starving over here.
Mika, character who needs a return. What do you think?
Barry Burton.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's my guess. And what I think the community would have picked.
I've said for a long time, having Barry as like the man on the headset for Jill or Chris is kind of like a dream thing. I don't need to see him in action anymore. Steve, he's what? Steve in canon, he's what, like 70 now or something?
Oh yeah.
Probably. Yeah, like it's not the way to go. So I would like to see Barry one last time, or hear from Barry one last time. RE1, Revelations 2, where he gets his hero moment, and then he kind of gets to be the guy in the chair. But Steve, who do you think?
Oh, you see, this one to me, like my brain cells scream. The obvious answer is Jill or Claire, but then strange things can happen. Strange things can happen. I don't think our community is going Steve Burnside. Maybe Carlos. There's some talk, respect to the live chat. Carlos is already being mentioned. That. So yes, my personal pick is probably going to be Jill or Claire. I'm leaning more towards Claire, if only because we really haven't seen her in current year at all. But where would the community go? It's got to be one of those two.
Well, it is one of those two. I'll give you the top two. Claire got 12% of the vote, but again, a commanding victory with 38% is Jill Valentine. I think it really says both of those characters actually demonstrate, but maybe even more so Jill, there is a big difference between CGI film and remake appearances compared to a new story with. And even as people that we are not quite fawning over Leon as everyone else is, we all have slightly different takes on the character. We don't hate him, but maybe it's time for someone else to step up. Seeing him in a new story rather than a remake was really nice. So that flavour, but for some of the other legacy characters, would be really great. And it seems like our audience largely agrees. Below that, we have Sheva with 10% of the votes.
Nice.
Ooh,
which is cool. Very cool answer. And then Carlos is under that with 8%. And then Alex Wesker with 5%, which is not necessarily what I considered, but sure, fits. Absolutely. I thought, protagonist or something. But yeah, it's a character who needs a return, certainly. Rebecca and Barry are on here, but they really only got a few votes. Puts them in the same kind of bracket with a bunch of Lovable oddballs. Somebody put Ethan. I mean, fair enough. Bless you. Fair enough. There was inevitably at least one vote for Lady D. Rachel Foley from Revelations. Somebody put Jim. From Outbreak. And now that we're back in Raccoon City, he can be there to navigate around the subway system with everyone or something, is what they said, which tickled me. On the reverse side of that, then, and this one got nearly double the number of different answers, is character you never want to see again. This one was a much more split opinion. There is a lot of variation here. Steve, what do you predict for this?
I don't know. When it comes to the community, this one is such a bit, because there is a lot of people that hate different characters. Like, they're oh man, I in my gut, it's going to be one of the big four that's voted. But me personally, if there's one character I never want to see again, it's Quint Ketchum. That bulb-headed fool can just do one. I have no time for him. Oh, he's a lovable nerd. No, he's not. He's a creep. He invented the Genesis. Oh, really? The worst mechanic in the game. Great. Oh, yeah. He could get in the bin.
Oh, God. That's great. Yep. Don't worry, I imagine you will be happy with the results. James, outside of Quint, any thoughts on this one?
Speaking of creeps, Steve Burnside. Don't want him back. Also, I don't want Wesker back either. Speaking of creeps again. Just all round underlying creeps. Just
any creep, please.
Just no creep.
Please remove creeps.
Yeah, only hero and villain. No creep, please. Thanks.
Mika, any thoughts on characters that you and the audience never want to see again?
I was gonna say Wesker, but I feel like that's the boring answer. So I will go ahead and say the Ashford twins.
Oh, interesting. I love that because, as I said, there's loads of different answers on here, and you picked one that somehow didn't get a single vote.
Damn. Okay.
I also like the idea of that and Steve, being named here, like as if we can get a Code Veronica remake that somehow omit like pretty much all the cast. It's just Claire wandering around a prison with no one else there whatsoever.
Hey, there's zombies there.
I guess that counts. You can't make much of a story out of that, I guess, though. Try as perhaps certain parts of the community might. But no, the obvious answer was the winning answer again. Yes, Wesker tops this with 15% of the vote, which, again, is good to see. It's good to see that our general takes on the podcast tend to align with our audience. So that kind of made me smile as well. There are obviously massive portions of the Resident Evil community that do want Wesker back, which is completely fair. But yeah, interesting to see him come out on top. What's more interesting than that, perhaps, is who came second with 12%. So very little difference, 12%, 15%. Chris Redfield.
Wow.
Yes, I'm so proud of you guys. I am so proud.
Our audience never want to see Chris again. That's the wording. And then relatedly, we have a tie for third place. All of these great answers. Quint is one of them.
Yes.
So I was very amused seeing Quint's name come up several times. The other one, speaking of creeps, Hound Wolf Squad. Yeah, just all of them. Just all of them. And then Leon.
Oh.
Yeah, so there you go. Tied for third place. And then also we had, in terms of characters that got more than so there were characters that got one vote and stuff, like Parker and Zeno, Jessica. Somebody put Alice. Fair enough. Steve got a couple of votes. Ada got a couple of votes. Ethan, Jake, Helena, Mia all got a couple of votes each. So an even spread. Someone even said Grace, which is, I thought, all right. I mean, that's fair enough. But I can't agree, but to each their own, certainly. Staying with characters for our next one. A positive one. I put to our audience, who is the best character duo in the series? Existing pair of characters, who do you like to see teamed up the most? Mika, what's your answer? What do you think the audience went with?
I think my answer is pretty clear given my general opinions on the franchise, but Jill and Carlos, especially in the remake, those two had great chemistry on screen. They bounced off each other pretty well. They're both pretty funny and like kind of bantered back and forth decently. Also pretty cool to see on their original appearance in the first Resident Evil 3. So that would be my pick. As far as what I think the community would have picked, Leon and Claire. I think that's the easy answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. James, your predictions?
Zoe and Final Fantasy 15.
What?
What?
So there's a scene in Final. I don't know why Zoe reminded me of it. You know when Zoe turns into a crystal? It's heaven.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's very Final Fantasy coded.
I just said 15 because that also reminded me of Luna Freya.
She's probably an FF14 like MMO player now. Like now that she's got away from her family, what does she do?
Yeah.
She just sits there and grinds every day.
Yeah.
I feel targeted right now.
Yeah. You should. Yeah. In terms of sorry, what was the question fully?
The best character. Best character duo.
Best duo? Yeah. Okay.
The best duo.
I'm gonna be difficult and I'm gonna be silly and I'm gonna say Billy and Becky.
That's not silly.
Because I said it on the RE0 podcast and I've said it so many times, but I love the progression between those two characters. Billy going from just being kind of a person I would absolutely detest being around, to interacting with Rebecca and then becoming a better person. And like that is a great duo for me. I think the community is either going to pick Claire and Leon or Jill and Chris. I can't decide between the two because I think they might be down the middle, to be honest.
That's a really good answer. In terms of like character pairings, there aren't that many which, as you say, actually have like an arc and an impact on each other so much because the gameplay necessitates it most of the time. You just kind of rarely interact with the other character, thinking of something like Leon and Claire. Whereas obviously Zero, Rebecca and Biddy being together for all of the game and sharing all the cutscenes together. Really good pick. I'm sad to say it didn't get that many votes. I will tell you that now. It is on here. It did get a few votes, but I think that's an example of a really good pick. Steve, where are your thoughts with this?
I feel like the community are going to go with Chris and Jill. Like that feels kind of set in stone. Part of me wants to put Barry and Magnum, but I mean, put respect on Chris and Shev's journey. I thought they were a good duo, as it turns out. This is good little teamwork. But no, I probably will say Chris and Jill myself. I feel like even though they really haven't had a proper full-on adventure together, yes, they've had the light gun games, but in RE1 they're separate. And they're not really together except for Lost in Nightmares and bits and pieces of Revelations. So we could argue we haven't really had a proper adventure where they're together. But also, yeah, Chris and Joe.
Yeah, the thought crossed my mind as I tabulated these entries to discover that they are, of course, the number one pick. Chris and Jill, 27% of the vote. And as predicted, Leon and Claire second with 18%. So it's not actually that close at all, really.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it is interesting considering that Chris and Jill's interactions are in DLCs and side games and I suppose CGI a little bit. But yeah, nonetheless, it's an iconic back-to-back pose of Chris and Jill, I suppose. Other notable voting habits here. There's, I think, and I'd not to poo-poo Requiem or anything, like a lot of the votes that he gets all across this series of questions are completely fair, including this one. I do wonder if there is some recency bias. That said, Leon and Grace, 7%. I think there is some, obviously, genuine honesty in that. Like, they are great together in that game. And another example of characters that do have a really good like chemistry and effect on each other, or however you want to look at it. They tied for third alongside Jill and Carlos. So there you go. And Jake and Sherry, which was a pleasant thing to see. Another example of characters who actually have something going on other than just killing monsters together. So that's cool. Steve, you said Barry and Magnum. Somebody voted for it.
Yeah.
Somebody also voted for Rebecca and Coffee, which
Yeah.
I wonder who that was. Very amused by that. And yeah, there was a lot of different pairings here. Chris and Leon, Chris and Rebecca, Leon and Ashley, Jill and Barry, Rebecca and Billy got 3%. Yeah, almost all of the pairings generally are represented here. Maybe with the exception of Leon and Helena, but there you go. Let's move on to some gameplay stuff. Let's talk about boss fights. The best and the worst boss fights in the series. Starting with the best boss fights in the series. Steve, this is the one so far with the most variation, even more so than before.
Oh, God.
Lots of different opinions here. What do you think?
Oh, nostalgia drives me too hard on this one, because for me personally, it's like one of the Birkin fights. Like, like Form 3 or Form 2. Oh, but where would the community go? I don't know. Maybe Verdugo gets a shout out, but
Yeah.
This one's hard to. There are that many iconic big fights, but I feel like there are so many. Maybe Wesker, would he have that poll? I kind of think his boss fight, his final boss fight's kind of but yeah, I'm sticking my guns. I'm going to go with Birkin.
Okay, that's fair. I will say this now as well. Like, this was one of those things where I asked for best boss fight in the series, and the problem is that in some cases I got information that I wasn't quite sure how to tabulate, like in the form of some kind of enemy where you face them multiple times. Some people said specific versions, some people kind of just put the name of the character.
Okay.
So that is going to impact some of the numbers and stuff. So using Birkin as an example, he's certainly on here. Mostly in very specific cases. Some people specified remake, some people specified OG, so that does affect the numbers. I did my best to like tabulate it as best as possible. So but some people, put like a name. I'm like, there's not much I can do with that. Birkin is on here, but it's, I think, by nature of having all these different forms and also the remake, he's kind of cut to ribbons by all his different forms. Mika, thoughts on best boss fight in the series?
The one is my favorite boss fight is probably one of the Nemesis fights. From the first Resident Evil 3. I don't know that I can specifically pull one out of my head right now as far as what I think the community would have picked. I'm thinking on top of Mansion, Tyrant 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. James, any thoughts on this one?
Mother Miranda for me.
Good answer.
She's the best boss fight.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with that.
Oh,
personally.
she's so gorgeous to look at, and like the multi-stage and the cinematic. Yeah. In terms of what the community would choose, this is difficult.
Yeah.
Because the thing that's kind of throwing me is like every single boss fight, other than kind of a couple in Resident Evil, they just become blobs. Of flesh. So it's like, but I know they hold such an evocative kind of weight with a lot of people as well, because I mean that's the culmination of all your efforts. Maybe Planet 42. Yeah, actually, because Planet 42 is it's a bit like because it takes me away from kind of the fleshy blob things, which is very generic in my head, and I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying. But Planet 42 is an interest from the original game.
Yeah.
Planet 42 is kind of unique, and it's also like a crossroads as well in the game as well. Like it goes in a couple of different directions. So Planet 42.
Ding, ding, ding. We have our second person who's picked something that didn't even get a vote.
Oh, guys, come on.
It's a good answer, but it's not on here, unfortunately.
Damn.
The winner was mentioned very briefly with only 10% of the vote. So as I say, this was really, really like all over the place. But Verdugo takes it.
Yeah, that's good.
Wasn't most people didn't specify between the original or the remakes, so that's I think they're pretty much the same thing. Like as a concept, anyway, it's pretty much the same. This is where it gets slightly complicated though, because number 2 is tied for 2. We have Wesker and Jill, which is fair. That's iconic. The Resident Evil 5 7 minutes or whatever it is. That's fair, but it's also tied with just Nemesis. Just people saying Nemesis, and like that doesn't really help me because there's a lot of variation there. But he does show up. I think Nemesis might be your true winner overall because he shows up all throughout this. With 5% of the vote, Nemesis Clock Tower fight. Also with 5% of the vote, Resident Evil 3 Remake Final Nemesis. So as a character, certainly he's winning. Miranda is in here with a few votes. Jack Baker got a few votes. A few people said the Super Tyrant from Remake 2. A few people said Wesker on the Carrier in Resident Evil 5. A few people said Krauser in 4 Remake. A few people said Ultimate Abyss from Revelations, which is neat.
That's a good shout.
Yeah. There's a couple of weird ones as well. Skag Dead, Marguerite, which I actually kind of get. Jack Chainsaw fight. The Lost in Nightmares Wesker fight. Somebody said El Gigante from Resident Evil 4 Remake. Nosferatu. Nemesis' water treatment plant fight from the end of Resident Evil 3. Somebody voted for Illusia, which is the snake in Resident Evil 6, which I just did not. Fair. Like I just didn't see it coming at all. So yeah, lots of variation there. Verdugo wins as a single entity, but Nemesis might take it just for being all over the place. Smoothly transitioning to another boss fight one is the worst boss fight in the series. I love this conversation because I've got many personal picks on this one. Steve, worst boss fights.
Okay, we all know I love Castlevania. Okay, right? Fantastic game series. First boss, iconic, giant bat. All right. Mm-hmm. I can safely say, and when that translated to Resident Evil's terms, giant bat is just a giant shat. Okay. If people have not voted for RE0's giant bat, my goodness, people, you have better taste than me. All right, that thing is vile. I cannot. Easily the worst boss in the entire video game pantheon of boss fights. Maybe the Albanoid's a close contender because you could just walk in, nick its treasure, and bugger off. But it's the giant bat for me. I cannot stand that thing.
Albanoid actually so forgettable that it didn't even get a vote, but that's a really funny answer. Mika, any thoughts on the worst boss fight?
Worst boss fight. Like James, I'm having a hard time picking one. I will say that I thought personally that the last boss fight in Requiem was a little underwhelming.
Mm-hmm. You weren't alone, I'll say that much.
So that would be my pick. Honestly, maybe it's would you call it recency bias? But yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the final boss of Requiem is the worst one.
It's certainly on there. James, anything come to mind?
It's funny, because with Requiem, it's which boss fight? Is it Grace just QTEing her way through to selecting destruction from memories she somehow had, right? Or the blob at the end that Nemesis was, or Gideon was, rather. I'm going to go for another Requiem boss, though, than that, because that's been mentioned, and Steve mentioned a couple that I was also thinking. I'm going to say the Super Tyrant. I didn't like that boss in Requiem. It was so boring. I found myself, and this, by the way, this is personal. This is not what I think the community is going to choose. I felt myself just standing there, and he was just standing there, and we were just looking at each other a lot of the time while I was just dumping. He was so boring compared to RE2R Tyrant and RE2 Tyrants. It was like a downgrade, which is so weird because it shouldn't be. In terms of what the community would choose as the worst boss, God, this is very difficult. Yeah.
The thing is, I'm going to list a bunch here, and you're absolutely all going to kick yourselves. Like, there is a bunch of really obvious, like, oh yeah, that is pretty crap boss fights.
I tell you what, I got one.
Yeah.
The thing that the wise guy turns into in RE5.
Oh, Irving. Yeah. He's on there. Don't worry.
That is absolutely awful because you're just stuck there for so long.
Yeah.
Like it's boring.
I'm going to just give you a bunch that got votes here that I thought were interesting. So the Stinger in Resident Evil 0 got a vote. Queen Leech got a vote, unsurprisingly. People said Salazar, both OG and remake, which is, I think, pretty fair. We also got some votes for the Ivans in Umbrella Chronicles.
Yes.
The Centipede in 0. Few votes for T-Rex, Derek Simmons. Irving got a few votes. Final Wesker in RE5 got a few votes. Gideon got a few votes. And now getting towards the top, the Bat got 5%, which ties with the Tyrant on an airplane Code Veronica boss fight.
Boss fight. That boss fight. You know what? Changing my answer to that one because that boss fight.
I told you you would go, oh yeah. This one also might make you have the same reaction. Heisenberg as well. Terrible boss fight. Absolutely awful. And then at the top, tied for second, we have Evelyn and the Ndesu from RE5, which is the
bigger
El Gigante. Yeah. It's the El Gigante that you just fight with a mounted turret. It's terrible. But the winner actually wound up being something that was in the top 5 best boss fights as well. So very much split opinion, this one. And it makes sense because it's the final Nemesis form from Remake 3.
Okay.
You either love that or you hate it, I guess. And I can completely get it because on higher difficulty modes, it is awful. Like if you don't get in the rhythm of the parries and the dodges, it will take you hours, and I know that for a fact because it took me hours.
Oh wow, that's like Sai's origin story for hating dodge rolls, I think.
Tested my parry patience, that's for sure. I'm not going to go through all of these quite like that because we've got some other stuff to get to. But relatedly, I also asked people for the worst final transformation, which got some really interesting answers as well. Nemesis from Remake 3 landed in the top 4 there with 10%, alongside the Queen Leech, the upset meat tent that it is, also got 10%. Gideon, second, 17%. Again, unsurprising. Yeah. Lots of people were let down by the, this is a boss fight we already did like 6 years ago, but we just brought it back. And then I think kind of unsurprisingly, Simmons got voted for the worst final transformation because he not only does he just go through about 8 of them in the course of the game, he winds up settling on a giant fly, which is a bit underwhelming after you've been a T-Rex, I think. So 23% of the votes, nearly a quarter of the people picked Derek Simmons. Let's do another case of best and worst. This time, very different. Puzzles. The best puzzle in the series. Steve, what have you got for me?
Okay, I'm a big fan of the original painting puzzle in the original game. Like needing a cradle to grave. I feel like that's a quintessential Rezzy puzzle. You don't need any gadget items. You can just read the puzzle, look around it, and it's a bit more interactive than just press one button. It's press a few buttons in an order.
That's fair. That is fair. James, any puzzles immediately come to mind for you?
So I mean, I'm not saying this is the best one. I'm saying it's the one that kind of, and there are a lot of puzzles like this, and I like all of these kinds of puzzles where they're very kinetic, practical puzzles where you learn as you go. And it's the one in 4R with the shields. Is it the shields? Is it the shields or is it the weapons, the swords or something? Like,
is this the thing where you get the stone tablets and you put them in the door and you flip them around? Yeah. This is like the I can't remember. It's like a bookkeeping room. I can't remember the word for it.
Yeah. And it also from the same game is the lithographs as well.
Right. Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I love those kind of puzzles. I hate number puzzles. I hate math. So as soon as you throw math at me, my brain immediately turns off. Sorry guys, I'm not a nerd. I mean, I am, but
Numbers are like your favourite thing, D&D.
I mean, it's addition. That's barely math at this point, you know. But yeah, so the lithographs and the sword puzzle, etc.
I get you. I'm with you. Mika, any thoughts on the best puzzle in the series?
I'm with Steve. I think I like the OG painting one. A couple of honorable mentions that I do want to throw out is the light-based one from Resident Evil 4, where you have to like rotate the stained glass.
Oh yes, of course.
That one's really, really cool. And also the Resident Evil 3 puzzle where you have to turn off the electricity to get past the waterway.
Oh yes, in the park.
In the park, yeah. As far as what I think the community will have picked, I'm going to go with it and say I think they're going to pick the painting puzzle. It's iconic. It's thoughtful. It's got some good jump scare in it with the birds that come in.
Yeah. You would be correct for both of you who picked From the Cradle to the Grave or the gallery puzzle or painting puzzle. There was obviously lots of different wording for it. This one was a really fun one to look back on because there was loads of different picks. Gallery puzzle tied for second though with 7% alongside the chest plugs in Resident Evil 2 Remake to open the door. Well, obviously they actually work in multiple ways. There's that little section that you have to use them to get another of the plugs beyond the G-Adult nest. But then also to open the door to go and save Sherry or whatever, fight G2, however you want to phrase it. That was tied for second as well, which I didn't consider, which is cool. The birthday puzzle from 7 got 5% of the votes. The final puzzle from Requiem got 5% of the votes. V-Jolt also 5% of the votes. And the portable safes from Remake 2 also 5% of the votes. And the music box in the clock tower in RE3 also 5% of the votes. Lots of other stuff in here. Some people said House Beneviento. We got Neptune tank shutters in Remake. Someone said the bedroom DLC from RE7, which is neat. Hadn't considered that. But your winner with 20% of the votes, a reminder that second place was tied with 7, so there's again a bit of a leap up, is the water treatment puzzle from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which is
for best.
I mean, it's the best puzzle apparently according to our community, who I'm judging from afar.
Oh, yeah. Is this going to be the first one where it gets the best and the worst? Is that what this is?
Well, Steve, what would you like to predict for the worst puzzle in the series?
You see, I don't actually hate the water puzzle. Oh man, but I also know a lot of people verbally berate the water puzzle. Oh goodness me! I feel like the worst puzzle in the series is probably going to be something like V-Jolt, where it's just basic math. Like, it's just 1 + 1 is 2. Oh my goodness! If I had to pick, it would be V-Jolt, but I don't think that's what the community would pick. I would have thought the community would have picked that as the bad one.
Yep. Mika, thoughts on worst puzzle in the series?
Thoughts on worst puzzle in the series? You know, the answer is different depending on when you ask me in my life. Because if we're talking Mika from the 90s, I hated the guard door touchpad puzzle. Which is you hit the button and then they turn, whatever one's touching it change color. As a kid, man, that puzzle was not the one. Now, I'm gonna go water treatment puzzle from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
That's an understandable choice.
In terms of what I think the community would have hated, I'm gonna say something from Code Veronica.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bear that in mind. James, any thoughts on worst puzzle?
Yes, the that room in Revelations 2 with all the graves. You know, the tombstone one.
Yeah.
You have to find like notes, and oh my god, I tried to solve that without googling it, but it just it made my head hurt. So I was like, nah, I'm googling this. I'm not going to try and work it out. I love the aesthetics of that room, but that puzzle was ass. In terms of what the community will choose, I think it's going to be what was the best one. Yeah, from the last one. Or anything from because I think all the ones in Code Veronica, watching Steve go through those Code Veronica ones was like watching somebody like kind of go through beautiful mind moments, you know, because I didn't understand what he was doing. Right, but somehow he managed it. So yeah, anything from Code Veronica or the war puzzle.
You know what's really interesting is that looking at it, the only one from Code Veronica that made it onto this list is the Ashford family tree puzzle, which is in the like lower part of the residence, which is fair enough. Like, I had forgotten about that, but it is frustrating. Funnily enough, it also got the same amount of votes on best puzzle, and that is a recurring theme all throughout worst puzzle in the series here. There is stuff that got just as many votes on the other side. The church mosaic thing that Mika mentioned, it's on both. The Resident Evil Zero, the animals, we have to rotate them to the sort of, circular lifestyle. It's on both. Resident Evil 3 music box is on both. V-Jolt is on both, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of crossover. So, the interesting ones on here that I thought, the orphanage blocks on Resident Evil 2 Remake I thought was a really good answer. I think like one person picked it, but it was like, I completely get that. That is annoying. Someone picked the shotgun puzzle from Remake 1, which is like, okay, fair enough.
They didn't like the Jill sandwich?
Maybe, unless you play as Chris, I guess, in which you have to go and find an item on the other side of the map and come back. Could be referring to that. But in terms of your top voted worst puzzles, V-Jolt got 5% of the vote. And then we have a tie for second place between three, which is Resident Evil Village's Piano, which maybe it's just... I don't think it's too much of a puzzle because you just press the notes and it stays on screen. It doesn't matter even if you get the notes in the right order, as long as you just hit them at some point. You could just go up and down, up and down, up and down. But I guess that is just kind of annoying, especially on repeat playthroughs. RE4 Ashley sliding puzzle is in the top segment here, which I cannot stand those things just in general, let alone that one. So I get that. I really agree with the other tied for second place here, having just played the game recently. Resident Evil 5's Light and Mirrors puzzle, where you're rotating the light around the room to bounce off the mirrors, and if your co-op partner stands in the way, they die and you have to reset and do the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So one of you just has to stand elevated and just still and like watch the other one figure it out. But yes, of course, the winner with only 13% of the vote is the water treatment puzzle in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So it's both the best and the worst puzzle in the series.
That's
so funny.
If there isn't more of a notify of Resident Evil in the Resident Evil community than
franchise,
that.
Right? Absolutely.
I could be your angle or your devil. That is a Resident Evil seal of quality right there. Like,
amazing. Let's do best DLC next. The best DLC in a franchise. What do you think people voted for, James?
I think I actually mentioned this in our discussion a couple weeks ago. I think Lost in Nightmares is the best DLC from RE5. Mm-hmm. And I think the community will either choose between that or Separate Ways.
Right.
Yeah.
The Separate Ways is one of those things where, because of the remake, like, there are votes for the OG, there are votes for the remake. There are also just people who just put Separate Ways and didn't specify. So I was like, okay. So yeah, it will be one of those things where, will that separation hurt it or not? I guess certainly.
They're kind of the same though, aren't they?
They are very similar, but I was like, I feel like they're different enough where I have to separate them.
Yeah.
in this instance. Steve, what do you reckon to this best DLC?
I mean, for me personally, this is actually a hard call, but I do feel like, Lost in Nightmares and Separate Ways are a good shout. If you had to put a gun to my head, I would probably say, as a standalone bit of content, Separate Ways Remake is probably the best one. I feel the community would float towards Lost in Nightmares. At least the fast community, I feel like they hold it in quite high regard.
Mika, any thoughts on best DLC?
Best DLC, the Resident Evil 7 DLC, the one that came with the Chris additional content. Not
a hero.
Yeah, was it sold as one big thing? Because there was also that, and then the blackjack game, and then the one where you were Punchy Boy.
Not a Hero was like a free thing, I think, and then End of Zoe was paid DLC, and then there's Banned Footage, which was also paid and was like separated into two parts. So in terms of RE7, like Separate Ways, it's kind of complicated because some people voted for very specific things, so it's cut up a bit. But I will say certainly there is a lot of 7 representation on here because of that.
Yeah, so that may be like one of the 7 ones would probably be my pick. I enjoyed a lot of that content when I played it, and then what I think the fans would have picked would be probably like one of the Mercenaries add-ons from 5, or even some of the raid mode stuff. That kind of DLC from Rev 2.
Mercenaries was surprisingly low down on the list. I will say that. Steve, have I asked you yet best DLC?
I said Separate Ways Remake and Lost in Nightmares being the public guess.
Sorry.
There you are.
Brain fighting.
It's one of those podcasts, everybody.
Yeah, it really is. Mercenaries really low down. As I say, a bunch of the 7 stuff just kind of in different bits. People said banned footage volume 1 and volume 2 specifically, which is really interesting. They like those specific things. Some people voted for just specifically Ethan Must Die. Some people voted for Not a Hero. But in terms of the top spot, End of Zoe was 4th with 7%, and then tied for 2nd with 10%, Lost in Nightmares, and people just voting for Separate Ways in general, so I didn't really know what to do with that. But regardless, taking the win with 28%, pretty heavy lead, is the Resident Evil 4 remake version of Separate Ways.
Okay.
Which, I mean, is completely justified. I would be inclined to agree with that.
And that's the resident Ada hater of the podcast, everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like... they basically just gave us a whole other game. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. Right. We got some silly stuff coming up next. We'll do some silly stuff. One of the silly stuff we don't necessarily need to go too deep on, just because you know how this is going to end. Somebody, when I put this into our little team chat and was like, what should we ask people? Somebody said worst driver. So I put it in there just to see what would happen. Characters that got votes included Jack Baker, Chris Redfield, Jake and Sherry, Rebecca? I don't remember her driving anything.
How dare you?
Maybe someone's just making a terrible assumption there. Somebody said the truck driver from Remake 2.
Real though. That's so real.
We also got appearances from Claire. Again, I don't necessarily get why, but okay. Brad, I guess, fair enough, I suppose. Josh, Jill, Gideon, which was funny. And then with 7% of the vote, Ethan in second place. And then with 62% of the vote, probably the highest win you'll ever get, of course, is Leon S. Kennedy.
Look, when Porsche had to do like a puff piece ad to say they trust Leon with the car, you know exactly his reputation. All right.
We also did one, just the show in Matthews sponsored Best Boat Award. Put that in there, and very similar kind of things happened here. We got votes for the Semiramis, the Dido, Irving's boat from RE5, the Hovercraft from RE5. The Starlight only got 3% of the vote. The Annabelle from RE7, the Speedboat from Resident Evil 4, the Del Lago boat from Resident Evil 4. Spencer Rain got 8% of of the vote, which is probably the highest you'll see anything Dead Aim on this entire episode. But the Zenobia, of course, won it with 47% of the vote. So let's do some other silly ones. What do we think for one of my favourite questions we asked for this entire thing was the best key item that isn't a key item? And we had people in the Discord server really racking their heads trying to think of an answer for this one, which was very amusing. James, what's the best key item in Resident Evil? Well, I should specify, not best key item that isn't a key item. It's best key item that isn't a key, I should say.
Right, yeah. So specifically, it's not something you put into a lock and twist.
Not something that goes in a door.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be... Well, actually, it's two things. It's either the bolt cutters or it's the crank. It has to be
the
one
legacy
of those
characters
two
of Resident Evil.
MVPs. Forget Tofu, right? I need these two to just be walking around outside RPD at some point.
Holding hands.
Yeah, just talking to each other, having a conversation.
Yep.
I know they speak like Pokemon. Bulk crop. The other one's crack. That's what they do. Sorry, I just had a coffee.
Don't worry, James, we can't tell. Mika, any thoughts on the best key item in the series that isn't a key?
One of the crystals, like the blue crystal or, wind crest. But I am going to go ahead and say that my pick for myself is the hand from Requiem.
Yeah, that's good. Steve?
No respect on
Best
Dummy
key
Finger's
item.
name. No. It's got to be bolt cutters, right? I feel like I know what this server's like. I know what this Discord server's like. It's got to be. All right, surely the bolt cutters. If it's not the bolt cutters, us old heads would have put the crank, right? Right?
So this is one of those things where I just kind of put it into pop us, didn't I, really? And to be fair, the bolt cutters are just probably a meme across all of Resident Evil as a community now. I'm sure other people have noticed that they're in essentially every RE Engine game. But we've definitely talked about it before, and it's good to see the community show up for the bolt cutters, which got 15% of the vote to come out on top, with the crank underneath at 12%. And then in third place, one that I really didn't see coming, but A is a great pick, and B, the wording on the first vote for this, I loved, so I've just kept it. They put the big cheese eyeball, which is Mendez's false eye in Resident Evil 4 that you use to open a door. It's kind of a key, but it's not a key in a traditional sense, so I'll definitely allow it. And as I say, I got 10% of the vote, so that's fair enough. There definitely were votes for stuff that are not key items, and this is why I was like, I need to phrase this in a way where people will come to their own conclusions. I can't say best key item like the bolt cutters, because that's giving them an answer. I want them to independently pick bolt cutters or something. So some people were very confused. Somebody put first aid spray. It's a healing item, not a key item, but thank you. It is a key item in my heart. Somebody put Requiem. Again, that's a gun, not a key item. And I was very tickled by, bless this person, I feel terrible. I think they were putting the wrong answers in the right answers in the wrong boxes, really. I think they were probably putting their best DLC answer, because somebody said the best key item was separate ways, which is not how I see the world, but fair enough. But other great answers in here. 7% of the vote was Ethan's hand or leg. I sort of laughed it off at first, but then it kept getting votes, and I was like, yeah, right, okay, I'll put it in. The lighter, Resident Evil 2's red jewel, got a few votes. The Stars badge, presumably that's the USB one from RE2R. V-Jolt, somebody said Daylight, which I thought was a really nice answer. The dog whistle, the blue jewel in Resident Evil 1 Remake. The lockpick, surprisingly low down as well. Somebody did say the crests from Resident Evil 1, so there you go, there it is. Yeah, like I say, really, really great and interesting to see how people's minds work when they're picking stuff like the D-series parts from RE7. That's a really great answer. They are really cool and weird looking. I love them. Valve handle with its iconic, awful noise. yeah, Marie's hand, or the girl's hand, is on here. The death masks, the gold lugers. Someone said coloured jewels in general. So lots of variety, really interesting. But it was the Bolt Cutters award to take, and it absolutely did. Let's keep it silly. I had to put the best Barry line as one of the categories. So, Steve, what's the best Barry line in the series?
It's Forrest. Oh my God! I mean, that's what it is to me. But will the community be Jill Sandwich? That's the question. That's what's on everyone's lips.
This is the only time in podcast history where, so for those of you who don't know, on the First Days Break Discord server, we have a soundboard, and the team are the only people that can use the soundboard, because otherwise it will get abused. But we never press it during podcast recordings, because that would be ridiculous. But I'm going to press it now.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes, that's a very good answer. James, thoughts on the best Barry line?
Yeah, that's it. What you just did. Like,
I just pressed.
That yeah, oh my God is the best one. Like, every time, I say this all the time, like whether we're playing D&D or we're walking to a room, I always a dining room.
Dining room. Yeah.
That's very much a First Aid Spray meme, isn't it, to be fair, as
every
well.
time. But I think the community is going to choose the sandwich, yeah.
A dining room.
There you go. It's also on the soundboard. Mika, thoughts on the best Barry line?
I think the community will have rallied behind probably Jill Sandwich, but my favorite is blood. Let's hope this isn't Chris's blood.
Well, you've done it again because you've picked one that didn't actually get a vote, but it's
What?
really good. That's an iconic line, so that is surprising. Yes, of course, with 28% of the vote, Jill Sandwich in some variation took the top spot. I'm just going to run down them from there. With 20% of the vote, we had I Have This, which, I mean, that's fair.
This is his penis.
Some of them specifically said waving Magnum around, which I appreciated. Several people, 8% of people, in fact, said it's really powerful, especially against living things. 7% of people said, oh my God. So it's in the top 4. Tied with, and I love this, specifically the Revelations 2 version of I Have This, which is excellent. Like, to be honest, silliness aside, probably the best one. It actually has, like, it's a cool throwback and it's got some oomph to it. So, and then going down from there, we also had, I'm going to mention the other nominees because it's fun. I Can't Believe What the Hell Is This Place Anyway? Watch Out Jill, He's Insane. Master of Unlocking, Take a Look at This. Go Outside and Get Eaten by a Monster. A couple of people said She Wesker. A couple of people said, have you found anything interesting, Jill? A couple of people said Can of Fizz. Somebody said, yeah. Somebody did say Dining Room. And then my absolute number one favourite vote in the entire show, somebody put, and I love you for this, this is far from therapeutic. Which, for context, if you need it, that is a line Barry says in one of the comics that Steve said in a Barry voice once that lives rent-free in my head. And I'm glad I'm clearly not the only one. So there you go. Barry Burton, as played by Steve, got on the best Barry line. And now, reading the file, Alyssa's journal from Resident Evil Requiem, Hangy Pomeranian, who you can find on TikTok at Hangy Pomeranian.
October 17th, 2018. Work has settled down, and we're heading to a new town the day after tomorrow. I'm thankful my freelance work allows me to work anywhere, but I'm worried about Grace. It's difficult for her to make friends when we're constantly on the move. Maybe we can spend a little more time in the next town. October 18th, 2018. Finished some research and stopped in a cafe when I noticed a hooded man. I could have sworn he was watching me. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. October 19th, 2018. I saw that hooded man again. He's definitely following me. We only just got here, but I think we should move on. I can't let anything happen to Grace.
Right, let's get a bit more serious. Let's talk about some plotline stuff. We talked about characters that we wanted to see back and stuff like that. But which villain did our community think should have stuck around in the franchise? James, which villain shouldn't have been jobbed off?
Alex Wesker. Like, where's she gone? She needs to come back. I mean, we don't know if she's dead. But if if Alex isn't, then Natalis needs to come back.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I cannot think of another villain that I would want to return other than her. Those two, because they, if you know the story,
sure,
kind of, they're synonymous.
And I will say, of course, people wrote that in different ways, but I've put them all together as they're all clearly voting for the same thing, whether it's Alex or Natalix or however you want to put it. They're very much voting for the same thing, so don't worry. Those votes all went to the same place.
Okay, yeah, I think the community would choose that too. It would be really funny if Wesker was there, though. Considering the other.
Yeah, that's true. He was the character people didn't want to return. Steve, what do you think? Is Wesker going to be on here? What do you think people voted for?
I think specifically one member of the Fast Discord voted for Leon Kennedy. I see you, Kels. Well, no, if it's not Natalia, I'll be very surprised. Like that's the hanging thread. They were like, what's she doing? She's clearly not okay. She's all crazy in Barry's house. And she's now older than Grace, I think, or near enough the same age.
Yeah.
So, failing that, maybe Nikolai. There's not a lot of villains that are still around that could do stuff.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, stuff that we wish hadn't died. Well, there's always Wesker on that front, I guess. Yeah, Krauser. The pessimist in me says Honk, but he's not dead. He's walked that off somehow. I'm going to stick with Talia. Stick with the Talex, the weird portmanteau name.
Mm-hmm. Mika, any thoughts on villains who should have stuck around?
I mean, I'm going to say Alex Wesker, but I'll do an outside baseball pick and say the Ashford twins.
They are on there. Definitely,
yes.
they got a vote. We talked about characters, dying and stuff, but there is a lot of characters that got votes that are clearly died at some point. But that doesn't mean anything in a sci-fi horror series, does it? So the likes of Lucas, Spencer, Krauser, Mendez, Excella, Brian Irons, didn't see that one coming. James Marcus, Alexia, Heisenberg, all these characters got votes of some form. This is a great example of a really fun answer. Someone said Svetlana Belikova from Resident Evil Damnation. Love that answer. But in terms of weightier stuff, Lady D got 5% of the vote. Gideon got 5% of the vote. Nikolai got 8% of the vote. Simmons didn't get a mention yet, but he got 8% of the vote, which is kind of fair enough. I think we all felt that way for a long time, and even if we don't still feel that way now, maybe some of us do. But your top three is Wesker, 10% of the vote, despite the fact that he also got voted for the character that people don't want to see back. Again, it just shows how mixed the opinions are in the community, and yet not at the same time, because Xeno got 15% of the vote for villains who should have stuck around. And then at the top was the other Wesker, 3 Weskers at the top. Yes, Alex is the winner with 22% to be our villain who should have stuck around. Relatedly, then, that actually brings us to the cliffhanger you most want resolved. So what do we make of this one? Steve, let's start with you. What cliffhanger do you think people voted for?
Oh, like if it's not Evil BSAA, it's Natalix, right? These are the two really big ones, I feel like, at this point. Because obviously Lucas got wrapped up in Not Hero. I'm going to go with Natalix. Yeah.
It's a good answer. Based on prior evidence, I would say that is a good answer. Mika, cliffhanger that you most want resolved?
I'm going to also say Natalix.
I can see where this is going. And James?
I agree. I agree. Natalis as well. But also the multi-game kind of spanning organization that is the Connections that we know still next to nothing about. Because and even with the introduction in Requiem, we still know nothing about them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So like that is still a massive hanging thread. But yeah, Natalis is probably the biggest one for me.
I'm going to read through all of the answers we got here because I actually like a good majority of them, and some of them are just funny. Yeah, and some of them, are completely fair. We have Blue Umbrella. Yeah, fair enough. Somebody said Lisa Trevor, dead or alive.
Yes.
Was that you?
No.
Someone said the Mega My Seat. Somebody said Rose's story. Somebody asked, where's Barry? Somebody said Requiem's Commander Redfield line. Somebody pointed out Revelations. We've talked about this before, but Revelations in its space laser just kind of being left in orbit. It's a pretty. I don't know if I'd call that a cliffhanger. Some of this stuff I wouldn't call cliffhangers, but just like I do get it. It's dangling plot questions. Somebody said Wesker, the figure at the end of Shadows of Rose, bringing down Umbrella, which is. I mean, I don't think you can resolve that now. It's kind of been resolved, but I get the never-ending frustration with it. Several people said the origins of Xeno. Several people said the post-credits theme in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Several people said the T-Abyss and Ada's background. Surprisingly, several people said Steve's body and what happened to Steve. I mean, I feel like, again, we kind of know that. Wesker swooped in, took a sample of the T. Alexia. It wound up inspiring the C virus. It's been a long time. I hate to tell you this, Steve Burnside, he did. But your top answers are, with 7%, where's Billy? Again, I wouldn't call that a cliffhanger, but fair enough. It's a question you want answered. 8% of the vote went to corruption in the BSAA. Various obvious different ways to phrase that, but pretty much landing on that point that we talked about. And yes, unsurprisingly, with 45% of the votes, Natalia and Alex is the most wanted cliffhanger resolution in our community. So, Capcom, if you're listening,
do it, man.
Come on. It's been time. It's about time. I'm going to talk about remakes some more now. A bit of best and worst again. We're going to go with the best remake glow up. Now, this one, I'm going to caveat this now. I'm going to really throw you through a loop here. Because when again, not trying to give people answers, but maybe I should have worded this a bit more specifically. I was just thinking people were going to write characters. Some people said games. Some people said enemies. So be interested to see what you pick for best remake glow up, because I was surprised by the votes we got back, but it's kind of on me. Mika, what do you think got the best remake glow up? Who or what?
Jill Valentine. I like her vibe in the new one. I like how practical her new outfit is. As cool as mini skirt and knee-high boots are. Like practical tank and like fitted jeans are nicer, and Birkin, the other thing that I think
that's fun.
Birkin's got a good, like a really good-looking, grossed-out, like appealing appearance.
Do you know what? That's really good. I don't feel like enough people talk about that. Like, he gets so overshadowed by the Tyrant in that game, but they did a fabulous job converting him in the remake and, like you say, bringing those original designs to life. So, yeah, I really like that answer. James, best remake glow up.
Oh, man. There's a list here, so...
There is a list.
Like,
yeah, it is a list. Yeah, it's a video right here.
Jill, Carlos, Mikhail, Leon, and Ari4R. Ada, even in separate ways. Like, oh my god! Out of all of them, I think Jill. Close, I think behind would be Carlos, but I think a dark horse is Ada, because I still like I mirror size criticisms of Ada, but I do think separate ways.
Yeah.
Did give her at least another dimension, kind of like half a dimension, maybe. which was much needed. It made me want more of Ada, you know. So yeah, but yeah, Jill / Carlos.
Yeah, that's fair. Steve, any thoughts?
Got me on my Marvin. Like, no shade on Outbreak Marvin or even OG Marvin, but like in Remake, he's an actual character who does things. As opposed to just a little bit of exposition and disappears and then dies. You know, he at least has a little bit of interactivity at the start of the story, and obviously now they've sort of retconned it that he's part of like Leon's major motivations, like part of his main trauma. Spoilers for Requiem. Like he still thinks of Marvin, still talks to Marvin's desk and stuff. So I feel like they did a great job. If it's not Marvin, it's Carlos. Like they did the side, even like not Murphy. I can't remember his name, but the guy who in Remake Tyrell. All right, Tyrell in the original Resident Evil 3, he's just a dude who dies. Whereas it's like, you know, Carlos's tech support squad sidekick dude who has at least a few lines of dialogue, and I'm not sure if he's on the level when he bites the bullet, but you know, he's still an actual character. So the side characters in the remakes all get a lot of stuff. Obviously, the main characters do as well. Claire was divisive. I don't think she's got very far up the list. But Leon, maybe. Personally, for me, it's Marvin.
Marvin is on here. Ada is on here, but it was really just kind of spare votes. In terms of your winners, we have a 3-way tie for 4th place between Ashley, which is a fun answer, Luis, again, very much inclined to agree, and then just Resident Evil 4 in general. 7% of people said Resident Evil 4 as a game was the best remake glow-up. And then similarly, the next two, the tie for 2nd place, I guess I should say, 15% each, both games. 15% of people said RE2. 15% of people said RE1 remake was the best remake glow-up. Again, not necessarily what I had in mind when I put this out into the ether, but a really interesting sort of look into what came to mind for them, and I completely get it. But the winner is Carlos with 17% of the vote. Yeah. Very, very close, 17%, and then 15%. But yeah, I completely get that, absolutely. And there is a reason why. I think pre-remake, you would have gotten some votes for Carlos in terms of character you most want to return, but he's done a lot better in those kind of conversations since the remake. There is a big push for here, like, yeah, what did happen to that guy? And I don't think that it's an unrealistic possibility that he could show up again one day. Who knows? Let's flip and then flop that onto the other side of things for the worst remake change. Again, this is very broad and could mean anything. I have not taken specific games here, but elements of those games and stuff like that. James, what do you think the worst remake change is according to our community?
Orphanage.
Ooh.
Everybody hates it. And I know I don't think it wasn't particularly loved in the original game. I might be wrong there.
It's not in the original game, so I guess it's a change by even including it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I tell you what I'm thinking about. I'm just thinking about the Sherry sections just in general.
Yeah, right. That's fair.
Yeah, like just you have your Sherry sections in the original, and they're much more interactive. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot more skill, even though Sherry is a tank.
Yeah, she is. She got vomited on by so many zombies.
But yeah, Sherry's section in the remake is also really crap. Also, Brian Irons' death scene, awful, terrible, absolute trash. Like I did in the remake, it's bad. Whereas in the original, I wanted to see Brian Irons be torn in half. Like, I didn't want to see, even, you know, I love Alien, but I didn't want to see a copy of Alien.
Yeah,
like, you know, yeah, which is what we got. Yeah. I can't think of what the community will want, though.
I bet you can. I bet you can. Mika, what do you think?
Clock Tower from Resident Evil 3 Remake. The lack of it, rather.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's who I think the community picked. As far as in my opinion, just as a noted fan of the original, God, Nemesis's redesign didn't do it for me. Like, I wanted pulsating purple tentacles like all the time.
All right, calm
Give
down.
them to me.
Okay, this is a Christian channel, okay?
But my personal pick is Resident Evil is Nemesis's redesign, and then as far as what I think the community would have picked, I'm going to say it's obviously Clock Tower from Resident Evil 3.
Steve, any further on this?
If it's not the clock tower, I'm going to be stunned. Like, that'll be a record book move. Personally, I still am not a fan of Remake 4's version of Sadler. It seems too Kool-Aid drinky. I prefer the original.
Yeah.
I know that's probably a me thing. No one will have said that Lisa Trevor is a bad choice, because that would be mental.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna stick with. I think the community are gonna say Clock Tower, but me personally, it's Sadler.
Some really interesting votes here. There was a few votes for outfit-related stuff. Some people said not enough alternative skins. Someone said the outfits are lame, which is, do you know what? I kind of get that. All the women now, the changes somewhat maybe individually cool, but a lot of the women in the series now just wear jeans and a tank top. Lots of different stuff. Somebody just said the existence of a new timeline. Somebody said Krauser. The lack of spiders was mentioned. Somebody shouted out Murphy Seeker getting even less to do than in the original game. Someone pointed out the lack of colour in Remake 1. There were a few votes for the zapping system being missing from Remake 2, but Mika actually got the 1 and the 2, actually. So with 13% of the vote was the Nemesis redesign. Exactly how she said it is exactly how I've got it written. But then for the top one, in order for things to make sense, because people were saying it all in different kind of ways, I put RE3 Remake's missing locations, because some people did, they said all of them. Somebody said Clock Tower, somebody said the water treatment, somebody said the park. I was like, this is getting silly. Let's all bundle these together. So with 40% of the vote,
wow,
it's the missing locations from RE3, which is a
lot of dead factory stands.
Expected, I think. Yeah, right. Really love it. I also did it because I was like, yeah, fly the flag for the park. You go. Let's knock a few out quickly, just for funsies. Best NPC death was really absolutely all over the place. So many choices here, all kinds of stuff. Somebody said Hoffman from 24 and RE7. A great example of a fun answer. Rachel Foley, Piers, Alyssa in Remake, Ben Bertolucci, Elliot Edward in 2R, Louis Serra in both the remake and the OG got a decent amount of votes, but heading towards the top, we have Mikhail with 5% of the votes, Ben Bertolucci in Remake 2 specifically with 7% of the votes, Luis from Remake 4 specifically with 8% of the votes, but then of course, with 8% of the votes tied, actually looking at this, Luis from Remake 4 tied with Brad Vickers' original death with 8% of the votes. There were also people who just put Brad, and I was like, well, I don't know which one you're talking about here. So there might be some votes that went a bit astray. And I just got 5% of people that said Brad, and I didn't quite know what to do with that. So it's potentially a stronger lead, but I think, again, that's quite an easily guessable one. This one's really fun. Best unique or one-off zombie we put, which is, again, quite a difficult one to... If you know what I mean by that, you got an answer. Some people necessarily didn't get what I meant, so we got some answers for, like, Crimson Heads and Blister Heads and stuff like that, which is like, that's not quite what I meant. Someone put Fossil from one of the novels, the T-Rex thing. That's not a one-off zombie. I'm thinking stuff like... And people got it right here. The turnaround zombie, which got 3% of the votes. Only 3% of the votes. the zombie with a migraine, as someone put, the from Requiem, the quiet zombie that beats anything up that makes a noise, got 3% as well. The vending machine remake 2 zombie got several votes. Chef from remake. Rachel Foley got 5%. I guess that's a unique. I guess it is. I mean, Ooze is kind of zombie-like. Marvin 7%. Perfect example of what I meant. Crimson Head 8%. Brad Zombie 10%. And then tied at the top. Loved this. Forest, oh my god, 12%. And then Selena Corey / the Singing Zombies from Requiem got 12%.
Is that the Dimitrescu effect playing in? A lot of people seem to be horny for that lady. Like,
I mean,
it might be, you know.
I've also to in defense of, they're also a really great design.
I
think so. I was being
BOWs. And like a lot of cosplayers are cosplaying them right now as well.
Yeah,
and they're doing fantastic jobs. Like they're really incredible. They're also quite unique as well.
Look, all I'm saying is, when they finally do Capcom versus Capcom, Selena needs to be a rival to the Dimitrescu daughters because they've got the same kind of vibe, but they are different.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I know a couple of people who, when they eventually get to play the game, they're gonna love those those characters.
Yeah, I'm not surprised they're blown up, certainly, but I was really, pleasantly surprised to see them all the way at the top here. I do wonder if there is an element of recency bias, and that's just going to happen. Like, that's going to come to your mind immediately if you just played Requiem. But at the same time, we're just a really pleasant surprise in the game. So yeah, definitely. Last one I'll quickly speed through here, because it is interesting, but also is best box art, which wasn't overly as contested as I thought it was going to be. There is a few really interesting ones in terms of, a couple of people said Requiem, a couple of people said Village, both the cover art with Chris as the werewolf, Chris and the werewolf, or the steel case, which was the unborn key symbol, you know, like the fetus thing. A few people said Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. There were some votes for Remake 1 in some form. And then as we get closer to the top, really interesting stuff. Resident Evil 2 NTSC got 5% of the votes. Then just Resident Evil 2, again, without specifics, so I wasn't sure what to do with it, 8%. RE7 also got 8%. Resident Evil 2 Japan and PAL Edition got 12% of the vote. And if you love that artwork of the black and white, the zombie face, you can get that on a t-shirt over on the First Aid Spray store right now with our text on it. It's good stuff. And also, the winner, I think, again, probably quite guessable, 27% of the vote is the PAL version of Resident Evil 4, which is Chainsaw Man standing in the forest.
Yeah.
Some people specified red, some people specified, you know, red, and I really like the white one. But again, yeah, of course, it's iconic.
It's a banger. 100% a banger.
Let's do the Now That's What I Call Survival Horror Award for Best Soundtrack. What do we think for the best soundtrack in the series? What did people vote for? Steve?
Oh, man. Now, this is... you don't understand. Like, you know, Knit Switch. That was, like, one of my dream projects for First Aid Spray. Oh, God, right. This is hard for me personally. I'm gonna fall back on nice, safe, comfortable, reliable OGRE2. Yeah, nostalgia is powered. You know, Steve is powered by nostalgia. But what would the fan base pick? God, there's so many. Will they just meme like DualShock RE1 Director's Cut to the top? I hope not.
There was some confusion here as well, where some people did vote for specific songs rather than soundtracks. So I had to kind of just not use those votes because I didn't think it was a representative. Maybe they picked a great song they love, but it doesn't represent them thinking it's the best overall soundtrack. But don't worry, at least one person said clowns farting in a basement. Mika, what's your pick for the best soundtrack in the series? What did the community say?
I mean, my favorite is Resident Evil 2. And I think that's what the community picked, just because I'm just trying to guess onto what our community is plugged into and what I've overheard. But yeah, no, I think Resident Evil 2 is the OG, is the winner.
James, thoughts on soundtrack?
I kind of I hinted to it earlier, but Resident Evil 0. I love Resident Evil 0 soundtrack. Incredibly haunting. Also, Resident Evil 3, the original one, is also good. Even the remakes is really good too.
Yep.
And like, oh God, just it's so hard because Capcom do so incredibly well with music with Resident Evil. It's like choosing the best of the best, you know. Because even the original Resident Evil 4, like that low, like hissing growl, like that you get when things are coming towards you, like when you're in the actual castle, and they do it really well in the remake as well with that. But yeah, I think community might pick Resi 3 as the top, the original.
Well, you've all made very good guesses. Certainly, there was a lot of like singular votes for certain games. A lot of representation for all the different games here is in front of me, but with all largely little numbers, it was quite an overwhelming turnout for just a few particular ones. So the top 5, tied for 4th place, is Remake 2 and Code Veronica with 7% of the vote. Then in 3rd is Resident Evil 3 Classic with 12%. Then Remake with 15%, as in the original remake. And then, yes, Classic Resident Evil 2 takes it with 20% of the vote. So not a storming lead, but certainly, yeah.
I mean, the live chat points out that it's the only track that's also been in Resident Evil 2's remake and now Requiem as well. Yeah,
it's true. It's permeating, isn't it? There was a conversation in the Discord recently about what do you think the main theme of the series is, and obviously, Steve mentioned the Outbreak theme and stuff like that. The Lake Crow actually said the save music from RE2 was like what came to mind for theme of the series. So I mean, that definitely is assisted by stuff like that where it appears in other games. Definitely staying with music and staying with the save themes, that is literally the next category. What is the best save theme? It's a conversation we love to have. It's a conversation we'll have until the cows come home. So this is the Tear Death Experience Award for the best save theme. Mika, what's your pick for this one?
Resident Evil 2 Save Room. Yeah, easy.
Yep. James.
So here's the thing, like the save rooms are always, most of the save room themes are always kind of very similar.
Yeah, they got a similar vibe because that's what works.
Right, yeah, and like some of them even kind of just do remixes of previous ones. I really like Resident Evil 3 again, the original. But I also really like Resident Evil 2. The original Resident Evil 2. I think that's going to win. Yeah, Resident Evil 2.
Steve, are we all in agreement?
I love RE1s, the original. It's like nice and soothing.
RE0s is really good
energy
too.
to
Sorry.
I personally am voting for the classic RE1, but I bet the community's gone for 2. Yeah.
I'll read from the bottom upwards. We'll do all of them because there's not that many, obviously, to pick from in general, but not that many games got a vote. Village got 2% of the vote. Resident Evil 0 got 3% of the vote. Resident Evil 1, 5%. Remake 1, 8%. Resident Evil 7 got 10%. Code Veronica got 12%. Resident Evil 4 in 3rd place with 13%. Then it's Resident Evil 3 Nemesis in 2nd place with 15%. And then a sturdy jump up to 27%. Resident Evil 2 Original is the winner for best save theme.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Again, we'll be having this conversation again in 6 months, 12 months, and so on and so forth, I'm sure. So, and it's usually the same ones that kind of wind up floating up to the top anyway. So this is kind of as to be expected. Maybe this one will be an interesting one then, because I didn't know what the general vibe was going to be out of this, and I really loved the answers we got back for best and worst movies in the franchise, and that includes the live action stuff and the CGI movies. Let's start with the best movie. Steve, what is the best movie in the Resident Evil franchise?
Oh god, is there an option to run away?
Several people tried.
On blast. Put it on blast. Come on.
The number one spot is did not watch. No, you see, if you count movies, for me, it's probably going to be the first film. It tells its own story.
Right,
It's contained in itself. It's Paul W.S. Anderson, but he's not at his most obscenely stupid. There are stupid moments in it, granted. But, yeah. No, if I had to pick one, gun to my head, it's probably that one. Even against a CGI movie. Sorry, folks.
Fair. James, thoughts on the best movie?
Resident Evil Apocalypse
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
is the best Resident Evil movie. Because you cannot figure out. I'm saying this with a massive smile on my face, and it's not a good smile. It's oh my god, why am
We're
I
actually
here?
having this conversation, yeah.
We did this once. I never wanted to do it again.
That's unfortunate for you, because it's on the plans for next year.
Oh boy, yeah, it's like. Because there's always like kind of little categories and little kind of subtitles you need to take into account. Like, the first movie is a good movie, like Steve said, as a standalone Resident Evil movie. But Resident Evil Apocalypse is the best Resident Evil movie that best matches Resident Evil games. Yeah, so that's why it kind of tops it, whereas I think the original Resident Evil is probably where everybody's going to go for.
Interesting. Miko, what's your take on the best movie in the series?
I don't want to answer now. But
Do it.
seriously, I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and oh god, this is gonna get me blacklisted from the space. But then again,
Just don't say final chapter. Just don't say.
I'm gonna say Welcome to Raccoon City.
Hey,
No. It's a good answer.
hey, no, that's a good answer.
I liked it. It had a lot of like really fun game Easter eggs in terms of that. I think the characterization of some of the people in that were pretty good. I think that in terms of like I like that it told the stories of Resident Evil 1 and 2 kind of simultaneously. That was pretty neat. I like that everybody was in it. What do I think the community would pick? I'm gonna go with Apocalypse. Like I think the people are gonna pick Apocalypse.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to read from the bottom upwards because I think this is really interesting. Extinction and Afterlife both got 2%. That is the third and fourth? I don't even know anymore. Anderson movies. Apocalypse was next with 8%. Then we have a three-way tie between the original Anderson movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, and Degeneration, all got 10%. Your top three are Vendetta with 12%, Death Island with 15%, and this one blew my mind, Damnation with 20%. We haven't really talked about the CGI films, and I'm not surprised that they rank higher than the live action stuff. But I absolutely hate Damnation. It's so boring. So it's shocking to see it so high up. But then I guess it does have Tyrants versus Lickers in it. So maybe it wins just based on that alone. Let's do worst movie then. James, you mentioned one there. Is that your pick?
Yeah, Final Chapter's awful. It's Final Chapter's the final one, right? Because I don't. Because who
So
knows
far.
what these? Yeah. Yeah, Final Chapter is so bad. I mean, there is a core memory in my mind of when we did, and I mentioned it quite a few times. Like, core memory in my mind when we spoke about the Final Chapter when we were doing Film Club, and we're quite a structured podcast, right? And Sai is our leader in that. She's incredible at doing it, right? But the Final Chapter podcast was so funny because it was not structured in any way, because we went at it like the movie was portrayed to us. Like, It was insane because I think a point I made is that I didn't even write notes. I wrote bullet points with 2 words on every bullet point, right? Just like the movie was. It was so bad. But yes, final chapter, please, guys, don't let me down.
I think I said this before, but because of the way that we paired movies together when we reviewed them in the early days of the podcast, we'd already talked about Retribution enough where we were all just exhausted. So by the time we had to talk about Final Chapter, it was just like, I just want this to be over. So I think, it just became a little bit unhinged. I'm very curious, now that I've put it out there, that we are going to start covering the films again, because it's been long enough now. I'm very curious to see how covering Final Chapter goes a second time around, definitely. Mika, thoughts on the worst movie in the series?
I mean, obviously, the worst movie in the series is Final Chapter, but I also think that the haters, shout out to my people, will go ahead and say that Welcome to Raccoon City is also the worst one.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah, that's fair. Shout out to your people. Steve, what's the worst movie?
I've been slipped a note from editor Cannell here about something about Zach Cregger. No, I'm kidding. Personally, I think it's the Final Chapter 2, but part of me hopes that Degeneration gets a bit of shame because it's just like the wooden Leon annoys the hell out of me. Right, I love Paul Mercier as RE4 Leon, but my God. Welcome to Raccoon City is obviously divisive for a number of reasons. I wonder if people will take a chance to have a stab at the Netflix show. No, it's probably going to be Final Chapter, isn't it? It's got to be one of the Anderson films, surely.
Yes, so let me take you through some of the notable things here. Pretty much every movie got a vote. Actually, pretty much every movie got a vote across both best and worst, really. Pretty much. Maybe with the exception of Infinite Darkness only got voted worst, didn't get voted best. But I suppose that isn't helped as well by the fact that it was released as a series. But it certainly got some votes for worst movie. Lower down amongst Extinction, Afterlife, Vendetta. Somebody voted for Revelations, which is a game, not a movie. Unless they mean Silent Hill Revelations, I'm not sure. Apocalypse did get a vote or 2. Netflix Resident Evil got a vote or 2. Again, not a movie, but funny nonetheless. Damnation and Degeneration also got a couple of votes. Your top 3, Welcome to Raccoon City got 10% of votes. Retribution, which I think is the penultimate Anderson movie, got 17% of the votes. And yes, Final Chapter is the worst Resident Evil movie, according to our community, with 20% of total votes.
Oh, wow. That's closer than I thought.
Right? It is closer than I thought as well. Like, everything appeared on here. But, yeah, definitely split opinions. Shout out to the person...
This goes out to my haters out there. I see you.
Taking the chance to hate on any one particular thing. I appreciate the diversity of the hate here, including the one person who voted for Mila Jovovich.
Just Mila Jovovich.
for the worst movie, Mila Jovovich. We're going to move away from the movies, but we are going to stay with performing arts, acting. We're getting there. We're making the connections. We've got to voice actors. So the next category is best voice acting performance. What I have actually done here, when I've gone through these and tabulated them, logically it made sense for me to just pick the actor, not a specific game. Some people did say a specific game, but generally it was like this person as this character. So, make your predictions based on that, I guess. Steve, who do you think from the massive voiceover cast in Resident Evil won out for the best voiceover performance?
Oh, this is an easy question. Totally. Like, this is not a massive nebula of many. Oh, my God. Oh,
yep.
There are so many strong performances throughout this entire franchise. Like, Roger Craig Smith as angry Chris, sad Chris. Wooden Chris in Revelations 1, but we don't talk about that. There was that one guy who turned out to be a bit of a weirdo, did Wesker for a time.
Yeah, don't worry. He's Shout out, audience, by the way.
Jill Tompkins as Jill. Obviously, Alison Court as Claire. Oh, Christ. This is not easy. This is not easy at all. I'm going to just play it safe, and I really felt a connection with the poor, crying, fragile Grace. Recency bias be damned. I thought Angela St. Albano, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I apologise if it's wrong.
It is correct.
Did a fantastic job, and she's going to get my vote. Well, I think the community's probably go for more classic characters and actors, which is fair.
James, thoughts on the best voice acting performance in the series? How do people vote?
Yeah, I actually was going to say what Steve just said as well. And Angela Albano, did such... It's Angela, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Since that first trailer and her voice cracked when she turned to Alyssa, I think she honestly deserves some awards. And I've never said that about any Resident Evil character that's been portrayed by somebody. I think there's some incredibly strong performances in Resident Evil, like Nick Apostolidis is incredible as well. Paul Haddad, but Grace, I think, and Angela Albano really has kind of stepped it up, and I hope we hear more from her. Incredible actor.
Yep. Mika, are we in agreement?
Yeah, Angela Santalbano crushed it. Absolutely crushed it.
Well,
yeah, no, that's it.
You'll all be very happy to hear that you've all picked the winning option with 25% of the vote. Angela St. Albano has won our community's heart, certainly. And yes, big time agree. Start flying the flags now, I think, for a nomination at the end of the year for all of the performance awards you can. I think she has a very strong chance. So does our number 2 pick, I think. I talked about this in the Requiem podcast, but I have been continually impressed by the work of Nick Apostolidis, who got 15% of the vote here. In Requiem, perhaps more than ever, but as I say, he's done a great job just aging Leon up over the last sort of 7 years that he's played him. So, yeah, those are your top 2, certainly. And then going downwards, we have Nicole Tompkins as Jill, 8% in Remake 3. Steve, you mentioned Roger Craig Smith as Chris, 7%. So many appearances, just synonymous with the character. Paul Mercier as Leon in RE4, 5%. Jeff Shine as Carlos also got 5%. And Paul Haddad's Leon in RE2 got 5%. Then we also have shout-outs here for Ted Soley as Ethan, Alison Court as Claire, Jack Brand as Jack Baker, which is a fun one. And then Erin Cahill as Rebecca, Maggie Robertson as well, of course, Heidi Anderson as Jill in Remake 1. A vote for Matt Mercer as well. Can't forget Matt Mercer. He's Matt Mercer. He's got to be in it somewhere. That's how it works with everything. He's even in this podcast. So yeah, it's a tough choice, but also I guess not, because Grace has really upped the expectations, I think, now at this point. I'm going to bounce through a couple of ones as well before we head to the last few awards. Some kind of loose, silly ones. I put best alternate outfit in here, and this was a real pick'em all over the place. Unsurprisingly, Gangster Leon from Resident Evil 4 is your winner with 10%. That is tabulated both Remake and OG because they're essentially the same thing. This is definitely one of the categories where I smashed them together where I could. Also at the top, Elsa Walker outfit from Remake 2 got 7%. And several people put Chris's Leather Daddy outfit from RE5.
Yes.
7% of the vote. 5% of the vote went to Regina in Classic RE3. Also 5% of the vote, Sailor Chris in Revelations. And Grace's Noir costume as well. Also Ashley's armor costume got 5%, which is actually less than I thought it would, because it's practical as well as fun and goofy. Hunk's Reaper outfit also quite high up, which is fun. A few votes for Rebecca's prototype outfit in Resident Evil 0, where she's wearing the bandana. RPD outfit Leon, who appears through multiple games where he's not traditionally wearing that outfit, got a few votes as well. Billy's suit in 0, somebody said. Sheva in a suit in RE5, somebody said. Leon as the sheriff. Jill's disco, aka Kazuma Kiryu outfit, also got a shout out as well.
Yeah, just do the Kazuma outfit.
Yeah. Best side game or mode? This one's... We talked about DLC earlier and Mercenaries. Mercenaries dominated this in confusing ways, frankly. So many people just voted for Mercenaries overall that the winner is tied between Mercenaries and Mercenaries RE5, including all the variations. Both 17%. Raid mode from Revelations 2 got 10%. Mercenaries from Resident Evil 4, 8%. 5% of people said Leech Hunter, which is surprising. And 5% of people also said Ethan Must Die. And then a few votes for Operation Mad Jackal, Jack's Birthday, Full Survivor. Somebody said the shooting range in Resident Evil 4, which I thought was... not something that I considered, but yeah, sure, why not? Absolutely. And then the last one from me, just because it's fun, the best Resident Evil 4 handgun. You will be happy to hear that the Red 9 is the winner.
The correct choice.
With 40... It is the correct choice. 42% of the votes. And then the Blacktail with 17%. The Punisher with 8%. Matilda with 7%. The Chicago Typewriter, which is not a handgun, got 5% of the votes. The Silver Ghost, also 7%. The Sentinel 9, 2%. Silver Ghost isn't... well, it is a handgun, isn't it?
It's just the real name for Leon's handgun.
Yeah, it was... I've been thrown here because some people voted for hand cannon, which is... It feels like it should be a handgun, and it is technically, but it's a Magnum, so I don't know if it counts. So I have to laugh at the one. I don't mean this in a mean way, it just popped me. Somebody voted for Killer 9, which is not only not a handgun, it's a Magnum. It's not actually a gun, it's the Killer 7. But I love the very visible, like, what's it called? That is that vote. So thank you to whoever put Killer 9, because it made me laugh. I enjoyed it very much. Right, we've got a last three before we wrap this up. Let's do most tragic story. Let's bring the mood down. The most tragic story in the series. What do we think it is? James, let's start with you. What story makes you the big sad?
I'm going to put Requiem to the side because I think it might have the potential to have some of the saddest connections. Tia.
Hey, ho.
But because we don't have the full story, and maybe we'll get the full story, I'll put it to the side. However, the saddest story is Lisa Trevor. It's so tragic what happened to her, and she's still alive. She's still in the forest, and she's still saving children and eating men. Rich men, specifically, in the forest. But Lisa Trevor. Her story is so sad. There's bound to be more because there are quite a few isolated little stories. So it's such a good category to go through. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the one that jumped out immediately was Lisa.
Steve, thoughts on the most tragic story in the series?
I mean, if it's not Lisa Trevor, then who is it going to be? Meryl Branagh. It's a new one. It won't be, but it is a sad story. Oh goodness me! The safest bet, Betfred and all the rest of those weirdo websites have put Lisa Trevor on this one. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any alternatives, and it's there will be, and it's just my brain is drawing a blank, which is terrible. Yeah, no. Just don't Dario Rosso loses his daughter. She was eaten alive out there. How dare you tell me to go back outside?
I told you, I'm not coming out. Never.
Exactly. It's going to be Lisa, surely.
Mika, is it Dario or is it Lisa or is it anyone else?
I mean, I'm honestly a little disappointed that nobody talks about my good friend Bob Kendo. Especially in the remake. But my initial answer as a joke was going to be Dario, but Steve jumped on that because it is kind of a rough story of a man who's like losing it and has nothing left, and is like, nope, I'm just not leaving this crate. You can't make me. And I definitely I definitely appreciate the story of a man who like has no agency left and is just clinging to that last bit of like self-control or self-agency that he has. Serious answer, I will say Robert Kendo. I think his story is pretty tragic. I think the community will rally behind Lisa though, because it is true. Her story is quite sad. Like she's truly an innocent.
Yes, and there is a lot of really cool. It really demonstrates the true darkness of this series. That there is actually quite a broad category of nominations here. Most of them only got like 1 or 2 votes, but all the same, it's interesting again where people's minds go. So somebody said Alfred Ashford, which is very fair. What happens on Sheena Island got mentioned. Yeah. Somebody said Jill's PTSD, makes sense to me. Somebody said Barry, which I assume is referring to him being forced to betray stars, which is a really interesting pick. Ada Wong, The Bakers. Somebody's a few votes now for the Brannars, be that Marvin and or Meryl. So it is in there. The Kendos got a few votes as well, and be that Bob and or what's her name? Is it
Emily?
Emma, isn't it, I think.
Emma. Is it Emma or Emily? I want to say Emma.
Yeah. 5% of the votes went to Steve Burnside for the most tragic story. I guess. I mean, it's hard for me to feel sorry for Steve, but I know where they're coming from. 5% of the votes did go to Emily from Requiem. 7% of the votes went to Sherry. Again, makes sense. Then we have 12% for Ethan. But the winner, with 52% of the votes, over half people voted for Lisa Trevor, of course. The only winner that got more of a share, like a larger share of votes, was the Worst Driver Award. The only thing that was more unanimous. So well done, Leon. That's how truly terrible your driving is. Big one next. The best location / hub in the series. This one was really fun to count the votes on, certainly. Steve, where do you come down on the best location / hub of the series?
Oh, no. Like, for me, it's OG Mansion. OG Mansion has so many different things you can
I will say, most of the locations have been combined if it's remake or OG. Most people they specified by name, not by game.
But again, already in the chat, RPD, and like I totally get it. Totally understand it. I've just ran RE2 that many times. It's a bit too linear for me, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And even
I feel the same way.
There's so many good contenders though. Like you've got arguably the Village in RE4. You've got the Rhodes Hill Care Centre now. If anyone picks Rockford Island, I don't know what they're smoking because their central hub is a single crappy bit of road. Like it's a rubbish bit of road, like a palace one side, a prison on the other. That's not a good choice. I'm sorry. If that's number one, we've messed up. Right? It's the Mansion. It's got to be, surely.
My apology to the one person that voted for Rockford Island.
Steve hates you personally.
I'm sorry.
Mika, thoughts on the best location / hub in the series?
I mean, they're RPD. Like, I get that it's linear, and I get that if you played the game a million times, that it's like, you know, kind of rote for people. But there's a reason that it's the place we keep going back to. They blew it up 30 years ago, and we go back to it. Like, there it is. RPD, hands down, without question.
James, any more on best location / hub?
Majula from Dark Souls 2.
Come on, James.
Nobody likes that game. Not even Dark Souls fans like Dark Souls 2.
Hey, I am Dark Souls fan, and I like...
Let's Hunter's Dream.
So, The Village in RE8.
That's good.
I really like The Village. It's we joked about like, oh, the village has a personality. That's why we've named it RE Village. We kind of all joked about that, and it was kind of funny. But it was cool to like kind of complete an area and go back and have more to discover. Complete an area, go back, have more to discover. Little side areas, little secrets. It was cool to be on a high elevation and see everything you could potentially get to in the future. And even right towards the end of the game, there were still things you could unlock and kind of get to. So yeah, and it truly felt like a massive hub to go through. For me, honorable mention is Remake 2 RPD hub, specifically the remake one. That it was Village and that lobby that stuck in my head immediately when you said that. So Village and RE2 are RPD.
I will say with Village, for this, like just how you said, when I think of like hubs in the series, that does come to mind. I don't, when I put this in, I had no illusions that it was going to win, but it's one I definitely think of fondly because if nothing else, it's just so unique. Not just because of like, hey, we have different unique enemies in this one game, but we wanted like an outside Resident Evil for a long time, and the Village kind of gave us that, and a snowy Resident Evil as well, which is unique. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Village in Village. But yeah, some real fun votes in here. We got some votes for the castle in Resident Evil 4. Both the original and the remake. I think they might be different enough to be separate, but either way, it wasn't a lot of votes to make much of a difference. Rockfort Island. Rhodes Hill, like the lack of recency bias, because it really got almost no votes at all, which I thought was quite surprising. RE5's Ancient Ruins got a vote, which was surprising but cool. The Grand Hall in Revelations got a vote. Some people said The Village in RE4, of course. Downtown in Remake 3, somebody said. The Baker Estate as well got a mention. But in terms of your top picks, Village got 5%. The Village in Village. Classic Resident Evil 3 Raccoon City, which feels like a bit of a cheat, but maybe not, got 7%. And then the top two, of course, are the Spencer Mansion and the RPD. I will tell you in what order they land in just a moment. But I will say the way that Google Forms works is really interesting, because the reason this took so long to put together is because of slightly different spellings. Like if somebody just wrote RPD, they all got pulled together at the top, and like 13 people said RPD. If someone put dots in them, that was a separate thing. So I had to scroll down and add all these together. And same thing with Spencer Mansion. At the top, RPD 13, Spencer Mansion 13. Somebody put Spencer Mansion with a lowercase m, counts as a different thing. So I was counting these up one at a time, and they were neck and neck almost the entire way. 33% of the vote versus 37% of the vote is how it ended. And the winner out of those two locations is the RPD.
Gotta respect it.
Spencer Mansion, second place with 33%. So, yeah, it was always going to come down to those two exchanging blows. And like we said, maybe about the RE2 save theme as well. It's just been on a lot of games now as well. And they did an incredible job in the remake, so why wouldn't it be in a lot of games? All right, let's wrap this up with a little bit of complaining. That's what we love to do as fans of the franchise. We did our 5-hour Requiem podcast, and we just sat and picked holes in it for hours. So let's finish our awards show by talking about picking holes in the franchise with the biggest waste of potential in Resident Evil history. What did people vote for this? Steve?
Wasted potential in this franchise. Oh, man. I wonder what they did with Steve's body. I wonder what they did with Natalia. I wonder what... well, there's all these little ones, but for me personally, it's probably the taking down of Umbrella being so mishandled. Like, you could argue it was more pushed into the shadows by the stock market in the way it's all gone down, but some seminal rubbish factory in Russia, I don't think anyone was going, "Oh, yes, please." So for me, it's the takedown of Umbrella.
That's a good answer. Mika, thoughts on the biggest waste of potential in the series?
I'm gonna agree with Steve mostly. I think the fact that like the takedown of Umbrella was relegated to like an off the cuff comment that happened off screen, like, and then kind of happened off screen, and then JK not really. In terms of something I think is a little more practical, or like more hands-on is Gideon. I think Gideon was like hugely wasted potential. What an interesting character to barely use for anything.
Interesting. James, thoughts on the biggest waste of potential?
This is like, I can't. It's difficult to say one thing because like it's actually just all of those moments where villains or bad guys or bad factions have been brought in and they've been wasted. Do you know what's
funny is we had so many like sporadic answers for like one-off villains, and some people just said one-off villains, that I have actually put them in as one category. So villains in general I put. So it's funny that you landed on that, because that is exactly when I looked to the answers. Yeah,
it's just it is. And like, because Natalix fits into that. What we got in Requiem fits into that. The connections fits into that. The family fits into that. Europe and BSAA fits into that. Like all of these things that are never connected, they're just spoken about like Marvel end credit style, but not actually expanded
right.
on. Disappointments.
Interesting. Yeah, no, well, okay, in that case, maybe we slightly different thoughts, because I have pulled together, like when people said Gideon, for example, and Xeno and Miranda and stuff like this. But yeah, like hanging story beats is definitely one of them, and that is a prevailing theme throughout all of these. We got votes for all kinds of stuff, like Lady D, biggest waste of potential. That's not surprising. People feel that way. Somebody said legacy character alliance, essentially, which is fair. Somebody said the rival company slash HCF, not really amounting to much. T-Abyss, just kind of being out there and not really being expanded on, because it's a really interesting virus. We got some votes for Piers and for Becky and for Jake and for Sherry. Some votes for Operation Raccoon City. Towards the top, with a three-way tie with 5% is villains in general. Like I say, Gideon, Xeno, Miranda. 5% of people said Umbrella closing up shop thanks to the stock market, not taking down Umbrella. Only 5% of people, which was the same number of people as Ada Wong, which is honestly to me as big as the fall of Umbrella in terms of like, that's a storyline that you should be doing something with. In terms of your top ones, tied for third, we have Jill Valentine, which I get that completely and sort of makes sense considering previous conversations we had in this episode. And also, really fun one, Outbreak. Some people said either coming out too early before internet gaming was a thing. Some people said not getting a remake or a remaster. But I think, logically pulled those all together. That also got 8% of votes.
Yeah.
Your top two, 10% was Resident Evil 3 Remake for various reasons. People were giving specific stuff, like somebody said, I like it, but I was just disappointed by it. Somebody said it didn't have DLC, which probably would have helped it when all the other games did, which I completely get. A few people pointed out Nemesis is not necessarily just the redesign, but his lack of presence in that game. So those all kind of made sense to put together for 10%. Your winner, though, you should have seen this one coming with only 13%, but all the same, Alex Wesker.
Yeah.
She's come up repeatedly throughout this podcast as the thing people want and need to see resolved. Revelations 2, the most underrated game in the series as well. So I don't know what that says about our community specifically, or maybe just the Resident Evil community at large, hopefully. But yeah, I take this energy. When Capcom put those surveys out about what you want to see in the Resident Evil series, take the energy. Alex Wesker, we want to know what's going on with this plotline that you abandoned 15 years ago.
I remember when we did our first couple of videos about like kind of the trailers for Requiem, and I made like a wild take. I had a wild take that the girl that Grace meets in that game like could be Natalix,
right?
You know,
sure.
and I was like, God, they could have gone in that direction.
Yep.
Like,
and there was speculation around Village with that as well, with Lady D and the sisters. Everyone was like, is that Alex Wesker, and is that da-da-da-da? We get that with every game, admittedly, but Alex Wesker is just now one of these names that comes up whenever there's a mystery to be solved, or people go, how will Alex Wesker be involved with this?
Right. Yeah, we don't want Wesker, we want Alex Wesker.
Alex Wesker. Yeah. Special shout out, of course. Biggest waste of potential. Somebody voted for The Moth.
Hashtag praise the moth. Represent.
Hashtag praise the moth.
Praise the moth.
Thank you all again for all of your votes for the inaugural and perhaps final Rezzies. This was a lot of fun to go through and see what the majority of opinion was, and a lot of you landed in similar directions. But, you know, as we've gone through this, there have been some really fun surprises. Nothing else remains for me but to thank the panel, our contributors, and our community. Join us on the First Date Spray Discord server to hear the show early and check out our merch store or our Patreon to support the show. Don't forget that these and our social media links can be found at faspraypod.com. You can listen to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all good podcasting apps. And if you like what you hear, please do leave us a review where you can and spread the good word. Our next episode is kind of in flux right now because we don't know when that Requiem minigame is coming out. We've got some ideas. It's just a matter of timing. We've done like 2 main show episodes back to back now, so we'll probably follow this up with like an episode of A Moment of Relief, and if all goes to plan, we'll be covering an often forgotten Resident Evil CGI movie that we've been looking to cover for years. Thank you to the panel. You can follow the Pueblo people all on Blue Sky. I'm at Cy White, Steve is at FB Steve, James is at Moist Owlet OFF, and Mika is at Biblically Correct. And finally, thank you for listening and have a good week.
Okay, so serious question. Smash Brothers, they've called up. Who's going in?
It's Leon now.
Does it have
It's
to be
100% Leon. I think now with Requiem, with him being like the poster boy of the biggest game in the series again, that's it now. I think it is just Leon, isn't
dang.
it?
Yeah.
Do you have any? Well, I mean, who else?
Well,
is it?
no,
You
okay,
know?
all right, okay then. All right. Oh no, Sakurai wants a second character. Who is it? And don't say Leon from RE2, just for someone different. Yeah.
Leon in a frock. I think it's probably. I would like to think it would be Jill. It depends if they would go for like Grace for recency stuff, but I think if they wanted to pick a female character, it would probably be Jill. Which is so weird.
It's the Requiem gun.
Just the gun, like sandbag. It's got eyes, and it just.